love to have out there, but the Magpies, there's Hill, Schultz, McCreery, Sidebottom, DeGoey, Frampton out of that team. Are they gettable?
We always feel every opposition's gettable. What you've always got to be mindful of when you come up against an opposition where there's been some changes is some opportunity for some kids that haven't been able to get games. There's some more experienced guys. Mitchell comes in tonight. He'd be really hungry to get after it himself and to be able to push for a spot as the year goes on. So we always come out, play the 22 that we've got to play, and like I said before, we can't wait for a response tonight.
The Blues are training, going through their warm-up paces about 20 metres away, guys, so it's great access to have Tim Clark with us. I'll send you upstairs, Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse.
Tim, thanks for joining us so close to the game. You talk about the collective and the response you want, but what about individually? How have you guys as coaches tried to rebuild that belief and confidence of the individuals of the group to get back to their very best footy?
Like I mentioned before, Lingy, we've got a really motivated group of players. Our leaders were disappointed with how they played over the last couple of weeks, especially around the footy against North Melbourne through quarters 2 and quarters 3. They really beat us up around the ball, and they're a proud group of guys in there, and they want to be able to shift that needle. So to get beaten last week in a similar way, we're looking for a response tonight. So the individuals, they reviewed their game, they got after it this week in training. Can't wait for tonight.
Is there anything in, and I ask this from a fan's perspective for the Carlton people listening right now, of reinvigorating players by throwing them around to a different position, giving them a different look on the ground, a little different taste of the game? Is there anything worthwhile in doing that to help them on that journey?
I think there is, Lingy, at times with, like for a forward, if he's stuck inside the forward line and he's got an opponent that's not giving him much space, to be able to get up the ground, get a little bit more freedom, get yourself around the ball, I feel that can help. Sometimes a player can move from a midfield to a half-back or a half-back to the midfield just to try and get more exposure to the footy or a little bit more run in their game. So there is some movement. We've been able to do that with an Ollie Hollands just to see whether we could, with Sam Walsh out of the team. We tried it a little bit last week, but there was a lot that we needed to shift around early. But you'll see him in and around the midfield at different stages tonight just to give us a little bit run from contest to contest.
Carlton assistant Tim Clark with us on ABC Sport. Tim, it's Corbin Middlemass here. Just on Adam Cerra and George Hewitt in particular, they're two guys that are high up in terms of the fines go for contact with umpires. Obviously, it is your group in the midfield. Have you done anything different during the week in terms of coaching those guys to be extra aware of that, given the crackdown by league headquarters?
We've known about, we're always in communication with the umpires. We've had them out of training earlier in the year to be able to talk through the contact. And the hardest thing for those boys is in and around centre square bounce. And when you've got two rucks that like to hit it to a similar area, the umpire's backing out, where more often than not those players are going to be wrestling with their opponent. Now, they've got great awareness for the umpires, but unfortunately for those two guys, at times they've made contact, and neither of the two players want to make contact with an umpire, one because of the safety clearly, but also they keep getting fined, and I know the boys are a little bit frustrated with it. Their intent's not to get umpire contact, their intent's always the ball, and hopefully we can avoid them as the year goes on.
Tim, appreciate your time.
Thanks guys, have a good call.
Tim Clark, the assistant coach with the Carlton Footy Club, with us downstairs. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass alongside Ben Cameron. Cameron Ling is here, the legendary Cat, and I'm pleased to welcome in our feature guest. He's the Chief Executive of the Collingwood Football Club, Craig Kelly. Craig, appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me. Have I just been fined?
I think so.
Because I tapped on the window to a good old round mate of mine, Jason Dunstall, and I gave him the bird, so I apologise for any viewers that might have had that on the camera.
As long as you don't...
I didn't know I was on the cammer. Sorry for all those ABC viewers out there.
You've actually self-reported.
Self-reporting. I'm a very good self-reporter. I self-reported.
The bird is in vogue at the moment.
You never self-reported, Lingy.
No, never. As long as you don't crash into any umpires, Ned, you should be fine.
No. We've got to look after them. That's the right thing to do, guys. So you can't... Like 60 times this year they've been hit, the umpires. Last year it was 60 in total. In 22 it was 6. So Lingy, you're a tagger. You're one of the great taggers. You're tagging bucks tonight. and you are taking him every time behind the umpire to split it up. So give me a spell. Everyone knows how smart the players are. Guys, just let's look after the umpires, because it's not fair when they're bouncing the ball, they're going backwards, they're trying to watch the game, and they're just getting hit for no reason.
So what's the way to solve it?
Just say this. Just everyone say, stop doing it, and if you do it, you're in trouble, because they know what they're doing. Sorry.
And what does trouble look like?
Oh, guys, once you do it a couple of times and they get fined or suspended, the coaches, all of us, we don't want that stuff happening. So everyone's sensible enough to just look after the people who, it's a tough job being an umpire, and they get enough thrown at them. We don't need to be running into them. So just a bit of respect. So we'll be right. It won't be that big a deal in a week's time.
Craig Kelly with us on ABC Sport pre-game. No late change ahead of the Pies and the Blues. You're a well-travelled man. You've been in North America recently. I'll ask you about that in just a moment.
Yeah, it was good, actually. Really
let's just start there. How was your study trip to North America?
Yeah, it was good. We've planned it for a year or so. So, Lingy, I don't know what you think, but we're very insular of a lot. We think the AFL is the centre of the universe, and it is. So many people out there now, fans. But to get on a plane and go and have a look in the middle of the year, which is important for the other competitions. A lot of time people do it at the end of the year, end of our season, but it's the worst time for them because they're right in the middle of it and also coming into playoffs and all that. So I just said to the guys, pretend it's us. We'd prefer to be there when there's nothing happening. So we went and had a wonderful time with these two guys from Boston Consulting, mad Collingwood supporters, who gave us 2 of their days, which is just ridiculous how generous that of. And we met with Universal Music, we met with Starbucks and Kings and Rams, and looked at stadiums, and then we went to Boston, did the same, and then we went through San Francisco and looked at AI and what's going to happen with AI being able to help us and our coaches and players to do a lot of the work and give us more time back. So it was really, and looking at stadiums, like unbelievably in America, there's we went to TD Gardens, which is the Boston Bruins and the Celtics Stadium, $40,000 a seat by 44 games for the courtside seat. 40,000 US by 44 games. Do the maths on that. It's amazing. But what they do on the 4th level of the Ponce Stand would be a cracking bar, big deck chairs, and you'd be watching the game from up high. That is one of the great views to watch our great game from behind the goals up high. And yet we've got seats there and it's not that comfortable. It's hard to get to. So we can do some really smart things, and Foxy and the guys here working on some plans, so it's exciting. It was good. Good.
Get ready for a recliner in the 4th.
Yeah, I'm going to sit. Your media box will be up the top there, overlooking the ground.
Perfect. The other meetings that obviously you've had during the week with a CEO's meeting up on the Gold Coast.
Yep.
Multi-day event.
Yeah.
What was the upshot of it all? What was your biggest takeaway?
Best one I've been to, and obviously I've been only in the gig for a few years, but. Dills was outstanding, spoke and really laid down some clear rules at the start. His executive now is starting to take shape. His executive, they're all aligned. Great engagement with the CEOs, talking about various things from, umpires came up a bit, but that bit talked about the NGA, spoke about also, some of the, getting some better plans in place and some direction with the AFLW and being able to share that with a broader group of people, including the athletes and their players. Talking about, obviously, there's going to be some pressure coming. We've got a TV right deal to 31, but we renegotiate the CBA in 27. So there's some really good discussions in and around all that stuff.
We can talk probably openly, you and I, because Collingwood and Geelong have been 2 of the biggest recipients of the father-son rule.
Yes.
Are you expecting a change to father-son or NGA access?
What I think you'll find is everyone cooling their jets for 12 months, see how the current changes take place, looking at how that plays out and being open to have further discussions. So I think what all of us agree to is that we need to be investing into, every club should invest into its region, into its future fans. We're doing that with a thing called Future Magpies. We're going back into schools and a community which we haven't done for years, spending a lot of money doing that. Now, we'll get the benefit, potentially, some NGA talent, and we need to be not encouraged to do that, but that's a good reward for it. But we have to pay the right price for that talent, Lingy. So if someone from the Gold Coast wants them and want to pay more than us, we can't afford it, we haven't got enough points, then we don't get that opportunity. What we need to do as a market, same with the AFLW girls, we need more talent, Lingy. We need to keep more talent. We're getting skinny on talent, so we've got to have ways, and as an industry, we've got to put money back into there. Rob Old and his team are doing that because, mate, we haven't done that well enough as a comp over the last number of years.
That's always been my biggest concern. I've always wanted a Tassie team to come in.
Yep.
But I worry about the lack of talent to cover 19 teams. Given, and this is a little shot at some players in the comp, there is at times a thin talent pool to start with, and we're throwing another team in. Speaking of Tassie, just a quick tangent, starting to notice players are signing 2-year deals, a couple of high-profile ones.
Yep.
As a club, are you preparing for that being the norm where certain players will start positioning their contracts so they can come onto the free market when Tassie are entering the competition?
Well, first of all, we spoke about Tassie and it's the AFL industry needs to stay absolutely firm and saying we've got a deal in place and the rules are clear and we'll come down when that stadium's finished and we've said what we're going to spend. That's it. We're done. We also need to understand that there will be rules in place and concessions in place that allow the Tassie team to get some mojo quickly. They've learnt, and the people who are setting the new guidelines have learnt from the other 2 new franchises with GWS and Gold Coast. So we've got a lot of learnings, got really good people in the room. So, Lingy, we will have players that will be poached and want to be poached. It's the name of the game. What will happen is we'll get something in return for that. And then that allows us to do something in return. So the free market movement, there is no real free market because of draft and also restricted trade movement in restricted agencies, etc., means that there needs to be these opportunities for players to actually keep extending their careers, great people having the opportunity to get the right amount of money. So we'll have pressure, but that's okay.
Craig Kelly with us on ABC Sport. You've been on both sides of the fence, obviously, as a player agent for many years now, the chief executive of a footy club. Chris Fagan's a big proponent on putting a cap on how long a player can sign for. Where do you sit on maximum length on contracts?
Yeah, that was discussed, and it's been discussed in our 4 walls as well as externally. I'm concerned. I think we should, as an industry. There was a great video that Patrick Keane sent to all of us before the CEO's conference, and people should watch this video. It talks about why the commission was put in place in the late 80s, 87. The competition was bankrupt. Big clubs were controlling it. The grounds were horrendous. Facilities were poor. It almost, you sit there now and you sort of go, if we don't manage our numbers properly, we've got a CBA and we've got an agreement in place till 31 with the TV networks. How do you start extending agreements with people when you really don't know the commerciality of your business beyond 31? It's dangerous. And we need to be careful that we don't live beyond our means, because I've got no idea what's going to go on with the next rights deal. You'd hope that we have a number of organisations wanting to spend more money. I don't know, though. There may be some significant changes. I think we should be sensible on our term and not just doing ridiculous long contracts to make sure we're keeping players.
Yeah, but do the clubs need protecting from themselves?
They little bit. That's sort of what the commission was put in place for. You're right there, mate, is that at the end of the day, I think that's the AFL's role. So I think you'll find that they may put something in and around that says this is a maximum term for the greater good of protecting people just not doing something that's smart.
If you're a player agent, though, you'd be filthy, though.
Not really. No, not really. It's no, to me, I'll be filthy because most of the player agents are being really lazy. The easiest thing to do is do a 6, 7, 8 year deal because they're doing nothing after that. So please, give me a spell, boys. There's a lot of my old mates out there. Get to work. Couple year deals. That means you've got to go and do some work, boys, not just have coffee.
Ned, has the appointment of Greg Swan and Tom Harley been well received by the CEO group?
Outstanding, mate. I was just talking to Cookie. So we're at the Carlton, and that's obviously the last time we'll have a Carlton Collingwood and him as the CEO. What an outstanding citizen and CEO for the industry, and what amazing things he's done. But we're just talking about the fact having Swanee in there like the Godface. People a bit like Neil Baum. They swan around. He won't do much work. Actually, he'll probably do more work than he is doing now. But anyway, I love him. He'll crank things up. Tom's outstanding. So Tom will be a great ally with Dills. The two of them are really smart individuals. They've got a great exec around them now. I'm really confident that it takes a time to get the people in right, and then they start to see the differences. I reckon we'll start to see some really interesting things happening over the next 12, 18 months.
You mentioned it would be the last time that he'll be the CEO. It means that Graham Wright is obviously coming in, who was previously part of your premiership team, obviously here in 2023.
Yep. He's
got a lot of Collingwood IP, and obviously has plenty of IP before that. And how do you feel about him going to the arch enemy and then heading things up, and
good on
guys
him.
will be competing against each other?
Yeah, let's go. That's good, yeah. I don't mind fighting against Roddy. It'll be good. Still want to beat the living daylights out of Carlton, and he's part of Carlton now, so get stuffed, Roddy. In a nice way, Roddy.
Of course.
Last one before we let you go. The AFLW, the 10th season, it all kicks off. We go back to where we all started at Princess Park here on the ABC.
10,000, 15,000, we need that joint humming and full.
Yep. How are the Pies women going to go this year?
The last 2 years we've invested in really heavily in getting the right people around our AFLW players, coaches. We've done a great job. We've got some great girls who, the level of training and level of skills, we'll see this thing changing really rapidly as all these new talent come through. We've got this bit of a lag effect where some of the earlier talent they just didn't have the same time and in the game. So this next generation coming through is outstanding. We're in a good spot. I'm not saying we're going to be at the top of the ladder, but I'm really confident that Roddy and Jess Berger and the team have got a really good opportunity to be better than we were last year, which is bottom. So it'll be better.
You can't go worse.
It'll be better. It'll be better. They know it's going to be better.
I'll look forward to coming to a Collingwood home game and sitting on my deck chair in level 4 in the years to come.
Yeah, that's good. I'll have a little lounge up there for you and bar, and it'll be outstanding up there. I'm just looking at it now. We'll get up there.
We always love your insights. You're great company here on ABC Sport. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything, and thanks for your support. Cheers.
Craig Kelly, the Chief Executive of the Collingwood Football Club, with us here on ABC Sport pre-game. We always love having him drop by for a chat. So thanks to the Collingwood Football Club and to Craig Kelly for making himself available. There's a bit in all that.
Yes,
is.
Plenty to talk about. No, it's good, and you can just feel the. I think that CEO conference would be a great thing to be a part of, and obviously lots of different individual agendas for each club, but then also the fact they are looking as a collective. How can we take this game forward in the right direction?
This is not the only game tonight. West Coast and GWS are also playing over in Perth, so we'll have updates of that throughout and then take you there for the concluding stages. If you want to listen to that game in full, you can find it through the ABC Listen app. The AFL and the AFL Extra button, you can toggle between both of those, plus all the other sport happening tonight. Full preview with Mick and Lingy next.
There are 3 warning levels across Australia: advice, watch and act, and emergency. To learn more, go to the ABC Emergency website and stay listening to your emergency broadcaster, ABC Radio.
ABC Sport.
On ABC Sport, you're listening to the 2025 AFL Premiership season.
Don't get better than this.
Footy's biggest weekly stage, Friday night footy. Pulls the trigger on goal and goes bang!
Lightning stuff! Unbelievable!
Oh, he makes the impossible look easy! Snaps across the body and the party continues.
In front of Elliott! Jamie Elliott! He launched into the night sky! Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. Don't get better than this.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport, on radio, on digital, and on the ABC Listen app.
You take a seat, cause it don't get better than this.
The Red Hot Pies are 2.5 games clear on top of the AFL Premiership table as they continue fine-tuning their game towards September. As we sit here at the start of July, they run up against a team who are coming off a pair of demoralising defeats, the Michael Voss-led Carlton Football Club. And I always say, when the house is hot, it is burning hotter at Carlton than any other team in the competition, and it certainly feels that way again this week with Princess Park. They had the graffiti up on the walls after their loss to Port Adelaide last Thursday night. They've had an 8-day break, and the lights don't get any dimmer tonight. They burn bright on Friday night. Right here on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron in commentary. Cameron Ling, the legendary Cat, and the man who's coached more games than anyone else in VFL, AFL history. Mick Malthouse, Tim Hodges with us on the boundary. There's no late change. Flynn Young, the mid-season recruit in his second game, is going to start as the sub for Carlton. And for Collingwood, it is Will Parker. So he's playing just his second game of the year and his 7th match overall. They've got a debutant tonight, the Magpies, their 3rd of the season. Roan Steele, 37 days after he was picked up in a mid-season draft, originally from the Mornington Peninsula Footy League, where he played for Frankston down there. The YCW, Frankston YCW, the Young Christian Workers. So he played his junior footy there, progressed through the ranks, ultimately made it to Casey, had success, went to Perth to continue his footy journey, played with West Perth halfway through this season, ended up getting picked up, and now is on an AFL list. So they're the type of stories, Mick, I know you and Lingy love. Guys that just put their heart and soul into it, skip across the nullarbor, do whatever it takes, and now he debuts in Carlton Collingwood Friday night at the G.
Oh, what a time to debut. You're right, we do love those stories because people go on different journeys. I know the national draft, when you hit that 18 years of age, it does feel like the be-all and end-all, but so many examples now show that it's not. Others take that little bit longer. You know, I know my club, Geelong, have got some wonderful stories of Tom Stewart and Tom Atkins and these Mark Blitzarves, these types of people, but every club's got them now. So I love hearing them, all the different journeys, local footy, state league footy, as you say. They head in all different directions.
Wood choppers from Tantanoola.
Correct, but the one thing they all have in common, they never give up on the dream, and they're prepared to keep working hard at it. And I love the fact they've got that opportunity.
It's a great story. We'll keep you updated with the Eagles and the Giants, which is still to come later tonight. That game actually bounces down at 8:20 Eastern, so it's another hour and 20 minutes from now. So we're still another 20 minutes from teams there, but all the updates throughout ahead of West Coast and GWS. Just on the news of the day, so the MRO findings are in. Ed Richards, of course, that high fend off, the forearm to the jaw of Luke Davies-Uniacke, the North Melbourne weapon concussed. No case to answer, wasn't cited, so Ed Richards free to play next week.
Thank goodness. There's
right outcome.
Absolutely nothing there. He spun into him.
Yep. And the other one that we'll wait on is obviously Tristan Sherry. So Davies-Uniacke won't play next week. He was concussed. Tristan Sherry was wobbly late in the piece. Looked like he'd had a pretty significant head knock. Actually cleared a concussion test. Obviously there will be subsequent tests done in the coming days. But I'm sure the league would at least look at it and look at the optics and think, hey, we got a guy sort of like a baby giraffe staggering around out there, and then all of a sudden he's not in the concussion protocols, so that'll be a watch, I'm sure, from a North Melbourne point of view.
Did they umpires stop play then? They didn't they?
No, it took a while, about 10 minutes.
They stopped it earlier for Luke Davies-Uniacke.
See, that should be the trigger straight away. Game stopped, player off.
Even then, it took a fair bit of time. So I was on the boundary last night, Mick, and you could see that the North doctors were getting quite agitated and saying to the AFL official, we need to stop the game. And then it was taking time to get the message out there. We couldn't work out on the boundary why the doctor didn't just run out to Luke Davies-Uniacke. Maybe they tried.
To Davies-Uniacke or Cherry?
No, to Davies-Uniacke.
Okay.
I'm talking about when they did eventually stop the game. There was a goal kicked and then Davies-Uniacke ended up coming off anyway, but they would have stopped the game had he not.
There's got to be a better mechanism.
I thought there was, though. You tell the emergency umpire,
that's it.
We need the game stopped. They communicate directly with the field umpire, and the game stops then and there.
It took a bit of time last night watching it all happen in real time, Lingy.
But I don't. But that should be exclusive of an interchange number, and it should be instant. And once that umpire says, you've called for trainers or whatever the case may be, and we're not talking about a blood nose or a bump in the knee or whatever. We're talking about something that's quite substantial, head, and you know yourself. Get off the ground. The game does not start until you get off the ground, and you've got to walk off the ground. Now, there's going to be no even, I didn't know where I was, whatever. So, but it's got to be the head trainer or someone just walks the player off the ground, then you restart. It doesn't come into your numbers, so you're not sort of worried about, we're trying to get through our interchanges and so forth. There's better mechanisms. And I'm going to add one more too. I think we're over age and blood. How many players have come off with a scrape on their knee or a blood nose or get off the ground? No, you don't have to. Just wipe it and play on.
Priorities are the wrong way around.
Absolutely.
So he should be stopping play for a concussion. Flowing blood, less of a concern than what it was, and why the rule was introduced.
Exactly, Corbin. And that's it really frustrates me. We're probably the only sport in the world now that haven't recognised that.
Only 25,000 there last night for North Melbourne's big evening, of course, celebrating their centenary. They hung with the Dogs for a half, but ultimately the Bulldogs pulled away in the second half to win by 49 points. You can hear that famous old theme song in the background, the Collingwood Football Club. It is their away game tonight, so they're all in white with the black stripes. They're the first team out on the ground. They've made 4 changes from the team that got over the line against West Coast last week despite trailing at the half. Maynard, Roan Steele on debut. Tom Mitchell, the forgotten man of footy, makes his return, the Brownlow medalist, and Will Parker is going to start as the sub. Both Allen and Sidebottom out of the midfield ill. Dean and West have lost their place. West has actually been added to the injury list since then as well with his own foot problems, so 4 changes for the Magpies. They are humming at the moment. Are they 2.5 games the best team in the competition? I know they sit in that position on the table, but from what you see with the eyeball test, does that make sense?
No. They're not two. In my view, they're not 2.5 games better than the next layer. I think.
Is that only on last week's performance against West Coast?
They got over the line against Melbourne. They had Melbourne. Melbourne got back. Melbourne aren't a great side. They've only got 3 or 4 players that are genuinely anywhere near A grade, and they fell over the line. The teams that have challenged them are now getting better. I think the Dogs are a better side. Brisbane are a better side, and I'm not saying Collingwood have necessarily lowered too much, but they don't have to lower 1 or 2%. To me, I think it's squeezed up. That 2.5, that's a buffer for them to finish on top of the ladder. No question, they should easily, with their draw, finish on top of the ladder. But I don't necessarily think they're a 2.5 game better side than the ones that are starting to come. And the Dogs only just made in the top 4. They'll fall out of the top 4 with this round because of other results. But I think the Dogs have improved dramatically.
I agree with that. I think
Brisbane have improved dramatically in regard to those early season performances.
Is it a buffer for a team with 9 players over 30 in today's lineup to maybe just manage them to the finals and the finish line?
They're doing that, Benny. You look right through the year. Penalty missed a few weeks ago. Sidebottom's missing. They're doing. This is great management. It's very similar to what Geelong have done over the last 6 or 7 years with their list. They've won a premiership since, as did Collingwood. So,
and the key to that is you've got to get wins early. You've got to lock in those wins early and give yourself that little buffer where you can have a stumble or two now because you're managing players, because of the way you've set up the season. And that's where, and Brisbane, I agree with you, have hit incredible form the way they played against the Cats a couple of weeks ago and are going to feel like they're going to launch into the back end of the year. They've scrambled probably enough wins together to still be able to manage some of their players. Geelong a little bit. But the other teams who are now trying to charge from the 5th to 8th, and Bulldogs is possibly one of them, they're going to have to play right through. And if any soreness of key players, they're going to have to push them through if they want to get to top 4.
The famous old dark navy blues make their way out onto the MCG, and boy, is it a big evening for them and for Michael Voss. He's got 8 games to go in the season. This is a side that over their last 24 games have lost 2 out of 3, so they're 8-16 over a 24-game stretch. And I guess the big question is, where are the Carlton Football Club at this particular stage of their development? It feels a little bit like they're trying to recapture this magic stuff they had for a 3-week run in September 2 and a bit years ago, or almost 2 years ago now. Are they able to get back to that, or can they evolve into something more? And at the moment, the Carlton Football Club at 6-9, sitting 11th on the table. They look bang average.
They do look average, and you look at some of the personnel. They've got key personnel missing. So I get that. But the most alarming stat for me is even when they had a lot of their players playing, they haven't scored 100 points in a game this season since round 6. This is a team that's got Charlie Curnow, has had Harry Mackay at times, it's got Patrick Cripps, it's had Sam Walsh for chunks of the year, it's got Adam Chera, it's got supposedly all these high-paid, well-paid, highly skillful players like Zach Williams and Mitch McGovern creating off half-back, Adam Sard using the ball beautifully.
So where's the overwhelming offence gone?
Well, exactly right. Yeah. They cannot score over 100 points, and there is nothing more intimidating in footy than when you play against a team that if you think, oh, gee, if we're even 5% off, they're going to put us away. The great teams that Mick coached at Collingwood, we came up against them, and we knew if we were a little bit off, it'd be like the 2010 prelim final. It'd be 50 points before we knew it.
So it's not
because they piled on the goals. They just made you hurt. And
so it's not 14 inside 50s in the first half like they had last week against Adelaide.
No, speed. I don't reckon there's any speed on the ball.
No, that's the thing, Mick. No. So where has that gone?
Well, and you can't say it's all got to do with Sardif at the half-back flank because his form's dropped off. It's general ball movement.
Correct.
And I really do think that their midfield is horribly slow. It's very one-paced.
It feels like, I said this on the podcast that Corbin and I do with Brett Delidio on Friday mornings. It feels like they're still playing the contest and clearance game from sort of 2021 when Melbourne won the flag, and the game's very much moved to speed by fleet of foot or how you move the ball.
Ball speed.
So that's that's the key. You can be a slowish team leg speed wise, but still have speed on the ball and move the ball with blistering pace.
Yep.
So a team like Carlton, who has a really good clearance game, should be able to turn that dominance into outside, lightning-fast ball movement without needing leg speed to do it.
And you're right, Lee. And the other thing too, if I could just add on for the coach's hat, is that clearance, as you would know, is that when that ball leaves that area, and I say that generally you clear it by 30 to 50 metres. Now, why I say 30 to 50 metres, under pressure, around the body kick, not many players kick more than 30 metres. That's why you've got to position somebody to contest that. Little lay-off hand pass or whatever, and a long kick or off to a half-back, like say Dale of the Dogs.
Yep.
He'll put that ball with 30 metres to the goal line. But then behind, once that ball goes, then you set your wall up. So if you've got fighters in your forward line, or your mark and have a shot, good luck. Whatever your fighters, you've got a double layer of players behind you because you can be super aggressive with your back line. Because you know the ball's now 50 or 60 metres in front of you, and rarely is the ball going to go 70 metres over your head, or over your head to go 70 metres. So it's what I'm seeing with Carlton is even when they do clear the football, their backs are hands on hips, too engrossed on standing on their player, not projecting any run, not projecting any outside support, and then it becomes, well, if it's in our forward line, why aren't we scoring? But it comes out of their forward line. Then they're going to pray for another stoppage, otherwise the ball just gets into their back line, and their back line at the moment is pretty iffy.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying as to that's the problem of what they do. I'm just shocked by even when they had the personnel, Carlton, they weren't able to change that, Mick. And you're right, because once you've got that clearance, even if it's not perfect and you get it forward, the layers in behind it shouldn't mean it should mean it doesn't come out like lightning.
Yeah, that's right.
It at least should be ugly, and fight and win it back and scrap it back, and then you get it in there. And when you think you've got targets like Curnow and, as I said, at times Mackay, you can genuinely get it in there fast with some confidence. Other teams in the competition would wish they had that type of forward line to be able to kick the ball too quickly.
The other thing is last week, for all their problems there, 14 inside 50s in the first half. Their first goal came, minutes before half-time. Was their oldest team in 81 years. So you have to go back to 1944, the last time Carlton fielded an older team.
Yeah, that's
scary.
That is horribly scary. You know, it's a bit just watching players like Norton. I have an ongoing running with one of my grandsons. He calls him Astro, and I go, he's naught because he hasn't kicked a goal. He kicks 5.
He's been better the last couple of weeks.
But why has he been better? Because he's not playing out of the goal square. He's now prepared to come up. He'll still kick him from the goal square, but he's now coming up the ground to meet the football. So what he's doing is he's allowing the backline players to actually kick the football to him just on or outside 50.
Probably helped he's had a pretty handy running mate in the last few weeks come back and join him.
Of course he has.
I get the feeling you're alluding to someone in particular in the Carlton forward line.
I'm going to go to Charlie Curnow. and what I've seen of Curnow, his confidence is so bad. He missed a shot last week. I watched it. And I was doing the Hobart, the Launceston game, but just somewhere or another I was watching this game, and it was 20 or 30 metres out from goal. He took it and kicked the ball out in the full. Now, we know he's a 60-metre kick. So where does that confidence go? So no one knows where it goes. I mean, you could be a genius if you found that, but you've got to restore the confidence. And the only way to restore confidence for a forward like that is do not be hemmed in. Just tell him that, even if they say we're going to spot you on a kick-off. We're going to run out our 15 metres and belt the ball to the middle. I don't care if it gets punched back. You can test the football because you get involved. He's got good stamina.
Yep.
If he picks the football up, the next kick goes to the goal square. So there's a whole host of things that Carlton are lacking at the moment.
Goalless in back-to-back weeks for the first time since 2021 for Charlie Curnow. As much as we talk about this rivalry as the grand old rivalry in the game, and it is absolutely Carlton versus Collingwood, it's as historic as the game has. This has been a Collingwood showcase in not just recent years, but stretch back even further than that. Collingwood have won 23 of the last 29. So 6 of the last 29 Carlton have won.
Yeah.
They have had their pants pulled down by their biggest rival time and time again.
When was the last win? Oh, I know it's probably there somewhere, but it's interesting that I'd like to see when that came about, because Collingwood have been up and about for a number of years. They had 1 or 2 bad years in the last 10, I suppose, but Carlton have generally been outside of the 2 finals.
Yeah, so 2023, when they made their prelim run, they beat them late in the year, around 20 that
that's
year.
Not that long ago, but
that's one of the last 7.
Yeah, that's damning, isn't it? That's damning.
So what's a good result for Carlton tonight then?
So when we walk away from here, say, they had a go and they pressed Collingwood to the point where Collingwood had to play at top level to beat them. That would be my...
Correct, yeah.
bottom.
Collingwood had to play well to beat them. What's a pass mark is that we here, like a lot of the other media covering the game, are having a conversation at half-time that the game is still alive.
Yeah. Yep.
We feel like Carlton is at least in it. Because if they go out there and they play like they did last week, and actually the last couple of weeks, I must say, that performance against North Melbourne was horrible, then all sorts of questions get asked.
Where's the leadership come from, Lingy? That's going to be the thing.
Yep. Fair question.
Well, they got their main man, Patrick Cripps, who's just met Darcy Moore at the coin toss, so leads Carlton tonight for the 150th time. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. There's no late changes. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron to call the action. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse, your analysts, and Tim Hodges is with us, as he always is on the boundary on a Friday night. Good evening, Hodgie.
Hey, Corbin. Hey, team. Patrick Cripps, the 3rd Blue in history to captain this great club for 150 games. It's a good start. He won the toss. The Blues will kick to the City end. That's the right of your screen if you're at home watching on the telly, listening to us. Not a bad winter evening, it's got to be said. Not too cold, Mick, down here. My app says still 12 degrees. There is a heavy dew, so will be slippery for players as they experience during the warm-ups. The crowd is a beauty. The early start has still caught plenty out. The lines are long outside, still trying to get in. The MCC expecting 75,000, which is more than I thought coming here tonight. So it's a great turn-up, right up to the top deck of the back row, right around in GA. So it's a huge crowd, especially considering how the Blues are going. No late change. The subs for the Blues, Flynn Young; for the Pies, Will Parker. One injury in the pre-game. It was to Matthew Richardson from Channel 7, reliving his youth, having a kick out on the ground with Dale Thomas. Pinged a calf, guys. So that's plenty for you, Cameron Ling, to get into him about across the weekend. Hopefully it's a good game tonight.
Oh, no, bad start for Richo. Thanks, Hodgie. Craig McRae dapping up his players on the bench. And we are ready to go for the game's grand old rivalry. Collingwood and Carlton. Is it a grand mismatch? The Red Hot Pies and the embattled Blues on ABC Sport. And you're with Ben Cameron.
Pitnet and Cameron to go at it. They lock up. Cameron taps it down straight to Pendlebury. Cuts a swathe through them to begin. Kicks out towards half forward in the Sullivan direction. Doesn't mark. Haynes worries him out of it. Getting back Akers. Gathers for the Blues. Gets it off to Wiedering. Chips a kick around the corner. Fogarty arriving. Knocks it out. And a throwing coming between wing and half forward. Here for the Pies, attacking the punt road end in this opening term.
George Hewitt with the Nick Dacos matchup, as we expected. He's going to have his hands full, Georgie Hewitt.
Yeah. I'll tell you who else will have his hands full too. How on Curnow? If Curnow moves around, that's tailor-made for him now.
All right, boundary throwing. Ball sits up for Cripps and decides to soccer it off the deck up towards DeConey. Collects. Pursued by Moore. Got a hand pass away for the Blues. Akers to Doherty. Short kick. Finds Williams. He takes the mark. Wants to move it immediately. That's a good entry. Spots his main man and finds Curnow. Yep. And he's in the game immediately, Mick.
Well, it's not a good match. It's a good matchup for Charlie Curnow because we all love Howe. I mean, he's just a fantastic player. But what he can't do is get people on the lead because he relies heavily on getting a little bit of a run up. He doesn't mind dropping off. He can't drop off Curnow. And not that he did. He was right up his backside then, but he just couldn't go with him.
Charlie Curnow walking in, true centre half forward, crosses the 50, right-footed drop punt is missing. It's just about the perfect start. Now Michael Voss would have wanted to draw it up, but not to be. 90 seconds in and behind. And Curnow's goalless run continues for now. No late change. Thursday night footy on ABC Sport. Flynn Young and Will Parker, the two subs.
You'll get chances if they can get the football, Carlton, because it's not the right matchup.
Josh Dacos with the kick in, finds Myercheck, back flank, he goes short for long. Mike's on his chest, just backward of halfway, members side of the ground.
Give me an alternative, Mick. Have a look through the Collingwood defenders.
I'd just put Moore on.
Darcy Moore.
Moore's the captain, Moore's the leading key back.
Long kicks up to a contest through the hands of Myercheck, slapped away by Pitnet towards the wing. Williams bobbling the footy. Hewitt goes in, ball spits out. Cameron wins it for the Pies. Handball to Sullivan, gets rid of the handball to the young man. Rone Steele on debut, hits up Elliott, drops the mark. Clearing for the Pies is Carroll up towards the wing. No mark taken by Williams. Ball hits the deck. Trying to pick it up, Nick Dacos, half forward flank here for the Pies. Maynard's back in the team. A big tackle from him. And we'll get a ball up, 60 out from the attacking goal for the Pies.
4 of the last 6 meetings Moore has played on Curnow, so he's done the job on him recently. Pretty good success. Collingwood all in white with the black stripes, Carlton all in navy blue with the white monogram. Up it goes, and down it comes to Doherty, who's tackled. Another ball up again here.
Zach Williams v Pendlebury, I do not like that matchup, Mick. They're rolling it over now, but Pendlebury's all over him.
Cameron palms it down to Cripps, squeezes the kick away, bounces off the side of the boot, out of bounds, deliberate.
Well, there's the rule change. If there's ever going to be one.
Last touch out of bounds?
Well, between the 50s.
We're virtually there anyway, aren't we? Almost. It'll be a huge adjustment as Maynard bangs it long inside 50, trying to kill it. Cowan can't. Membry keeps it alive, kicks to the top of the goal square. Hoskin Elliott gives it to Long, through traffic, back to Hoskin Elliott with his zebra sleeves. Handball away to Dacos, kick smothered. Mick might get a second go. Cameron hands it to him.
Oh, that's out. Dacos handballs it away to Elliott. He's out of play, as Mick said. So a throw-in coming.
I'd love to do a study on the best value key forwards in the game. Brody Myercheck would have to be the top of the list.
Yep.
Well, he just competes and fights. He took that contested mark down here from a kick out.
Yep, that's what I mean about moving on the forward line. You've got to move.
A rookie pick up to 5 times the club-leading goal kicker. From the throw-in, we'll get another ball up. 40 out from the attacking goal here for the Pies.
So Carlton are okay at this stuff where it just falls at your feet. It's when it moves like this.
Membry taps it down to Steele. Off towards Lipinski, who kicks towards Hoskin Elliott. Can't take the mark. Long arrives. He's tackled quickly. Taken to ground. And another ball up. 35 out from the attacking goal for the Pies.
And Carlton's forward line has collapsed on itself again. It comes out in all sorts.
Pitternet and Membry. Pitternet wins it down, but straight to Pendlebury. Hand pass releases Hoskin Elliott. Taken off his kick. Elliott has it. He's crunched. Says, give it to me. Umpires all in yellow. Yellow Sharon, earlier start. 7:20 bounce, so half an hour earlier than normal. As a result, just a few little holes in the concourse. And the restart, Pendlebury so clever, knocks it down to Lipinski. Oh, kicks to full forward. 2 Blues run into each other. I'm not sure they got a touch on that. The ball passes them by. It was weetering deep on the line. He believes he's touched it. And I'm not so sure we're going to the arc.
Yeah, it's touch. Come off his arm.
Came off O'Farrell, I think, on the way through. Was trying to take the chest mark, and Wiedering banged into him, the 2 locker buddies.
Yeah, gee, they've made a meal of it, though, haven't they? Has that definitely touched his arm?
Yeah, it's come off his
arm. It has? Okay.
His forearm. Off his bicep.
I think that'll help him when he's soft calls are behind, so we need conclusive evidence that he didn't touch it.
You've got 10 seconds. You can't make it in 10 seconds. Get rid of it because we're wasting time.
Yep. Totally agree.
No, you should be reported, this bloke. You time waste, you get reported.
Craig in Canberra off the SMS, 0437 774 774. Thankfully, we have someone yelling over the speakers. I was worried Collingwood Carlton wouldn't have any atmosphere. Thanks, Craig. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Tom Mitchell on for his first run of the season. Just has been the missing man in this Magpie team since the 2023 Premiership. Craig McRae gave him a big bear hug before he went back on the ground. So a big moment for him and his season and his hopes in 2025.
Yeah, first game in 435 days. As the kick from McGovern goes right into the middle. Maynard wins it back for the Pies. Rushes a kick to Myercheck, half forward. He wants to centre it, looking for Hoskin Elliott. And he's got it 45 out. Slight angle to the right.
See, that sums up the difference there.
Yep.
That contest between Fogarty and Maynard wasn't really a contest. Maynard made him look ridiculous. Myercheck then brilliantly clean at ground level. And the unselfish kick across, pinpoint perfection to Hoskin Elliott. Great play.
Will Hoskin Elliott, the Pies' Swiss Army knife, is the opening goal kicker of the night. 1-1-7 plays one behind, 7 minutes into the opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Well, Lee, what it does show you how organised Collingwood are, because Hoskin Elliott kept his width. He wasn't compelled to be sucked into play. The ball's on this side in front of us. There's a common thing you see in football. Everyone draws themselves to where the ball is going to go, and then you've got to get the ball out the back. He held his width. His man didn't go with him. He had room up his sleeve, and as a consequence, once the player sided him, it was an easy one.
Yeah, and just the ability to win contests across half forward or high up the ground for Carlton, it's such a difference. You look at Collingwood's forward line there, you've got McStay, you've got Hoskin Elliott, you've got Lipinski, you've got Membry, you've got Myercheck, you've got Elliott. All of them you'd back in a contest.
Yep.
Crooked bounce in the middle, up lets them roll. Cameron down to Mitchell, gets the centre clearance. Kicks to the hot spot. McStay competes. Steele has a play on it, trying to rip it down. Fumbles. Socked through by Elliott. Hits it off the deck from 30 out. And Jamie Elliott with the fleet-footed work. The soccer skills off the deck from long range. And Collingwood, in the blink of an eye, have the first 2 goals. 2-1 to 1 behind. 8.5 minutes in. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse.
So, Mick, just to continue my point on that one and comparing it to the Carlton forward line, I know it didn't even get down into there, but you've got Motlop, Fantasia, Fogarty and Francis Evans. I reckon he's down there, apart from Charlie Kerner. Yep. I'm not backing any of them in to win a contest, but I'm backing in every one of the Collingwood forward line
and
to win a contest. Yeah.
You know where that goal come from, though? A fumble by the captain.
Yeah.
Paddy Cripps fumbled the football. It was in his hands. That ball goes in the Carlton for him. No, it comes straight out, and once he lost it, he lost it.
Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling with you on Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. The Blues out of the middle. 1-2, Cripps and Pitnet. Nowhere to go for Cripps. Runs a U-turn, drives it long inside 50. Moore outmarks Curnow. Marks on the last line. He's got it at fullback here for the Pies.
Yeah, so as soon as de Koning left that Carlton forward line, Moore has rolled over to Curnow. Do you reckon, Mick?
He has.
Feels like that, yeah.
He has, certainly. And that's why why take a player off this early in the match, and 2 is as an important structure player.
Nick Dacos kicks up to the wing. Tom Mitchell with his first involvement, turning it over. Hoskin Elliott, McGovern through the middle of the ground, kicks to Cripps. He'll look long inside 50, into the pocket, bouncing ball for Motlop, tackled there quickly by Maynard. Driven into the turf, and the umpire wants it. He'll come in and ball it up deep in the left forward pocket here for the Blues.
Yeah, rolled him perfectly then, Maynard. Could have got in his back. Just rolled him in the tackle. Well played.
Forward 50 stoppage for Carlton. Cameron grabs it out of the ruck. Pitternet tackles him. Nick Dacos, hand pass away towards Markov. Slips the tackle and then gets the clearing kick out of the defensive arc. McGovern had a fair play on it. Couldn't quite complete the Marco. Farrell away to Evans. He gives it to Doherty. Hand pass to Hollands. Handball inside to Haynes. Clean pick up. Drives the kick forward for Carlton. Moore gets rid of the body in front of him. Grabs the footy. Hand pass away to Cameron. Collingwood back with it but under the pump. Perryman. Slick hand pass away towards Markov, trying to clear, turns it over, Blues back the other way, half forward, Doherty, Hollands, Akers, all by hand. Here's Cripps, tight angle, centering kick just over the head of Fantasia, and it'll sit up for Perryman, who again kicks to half-back.
High ball hits the deck. Out after it quickly is Cripps. Close to the boundary line. McGovern there too. Akers as well. Akers picks it up. Centering kick to the pack. Fogarty with the hand to it. Spills down for Josh Dacos. Inside D50 here for the Pies. Slapped on there by Crisp. Away to Pendlebury. And the Pies are away down the members' wing. Here's Roan Steele. He's roaming down the wing.
Kicks down to half-forward. Wants Elliott. Intercept mark from Wiedering. Too big, too strong. Favoured by the kick, and Wiedering at half-back. 12-point advantage for now for Collingwood. 2-1 to 1 behind. A dozen minutes in as Wiedering goes back to Haynes. Hand pass finds Hollands. Centre half-back. He comes wide with the kick to Motlop. And Motlop continues the shift. Up over halfway. Finds Akers out on that southern boundary line. Comes inside with the kick to Curnow. 60 metres out. He rolls. He hits a home run. Drop punt, but misses.
Oh, he's been stiff. That's two. He's only just dragged it slightly. That's the play he's got to play. I know he's missed it, but that's the way he's got to play, Curnow.
Collingwood 2-1-13. Curnow 2 behinds. That is the scoreline. An 11-point buffer for the Magpies. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Some of the analysis there from the triple premiership coach, Mick Malthouse. Josh Dacos with a long kick in towards Steele. Gathers it on the bounce, having brought it down. That's Roan Steele. Not to be confused with Steele side bottom. The Blues pinch it back. Tom De Koning away to Hollands. He cuffs it up. McStay goes in for the Pies. His handball back into the muck. Tom Mitchell extracts it. Out to Darcy Cameron to Pendlebury. Pies on a back flank. Perryman. Rush kick up to the wing. Turnover in the lap there of Haynes for the Blues.
The oldest Blue out there, one of their 5 30-year-olds, comes wide to Lord against the boundary line. Pulls the kick inside. Wanted Fogarty over his head. Curnow competing at the back. Pack forms in front of him. He'll jump in on top of it, and the ump says, I'll have it.
Well, that's better by Carlton. We don't want to barrack anywhere, but we want a good contest. That's better because they've been winning a few one-on-ones.
Yeah, but only outside 50.
Yes.
It's coming back out and they get re-entering. That's nice.
Tom De Koning down to Zach Williams, who snaps the goal. Can that ignite the Blues? 2-1-13 plays 1-2-8. The Blues kick it into gear. 13 minutes into the opening term. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Well, good stoppage. I just like to see that again. We're just talking about the general play there, but when you can manufacture a goal from a stoppage like that, that's
there was something out of nothing.
That's first class. That is spot on. It did come from nothing. I'm just trying to watch this here. That's De Koning playing the type of football that he's capable of. His reach there was quite good. He got the ball into space. It's only a small bit of space, but he got his hand to it to a player who was moving and kicks it over his shoulder. I don't think Collingwood did a lot wrong there, except De Koning. His athleticism there shone out.
It was definitely one against the flow of the game. 21-9 the contested possessions Collingwood's way so far in this game. But they get one there, the Blues.
15 for the season for Williams, their second leading goal kicker. They get a centre break here. Chera kicks to centre half forward. Curnow competes, no mark. Spills to Hollands. Blues keep it. Hand pass to Lord. Heads inside 50. Moyer didn't hear Markov come in. He knocks it away from him. And Pendlebury can just tumble a kick out of defence. And up to the wing. Curnow hits the Sunday hop. Turns, looks to Cowan, my apologies, gets the Sunday hop. Tried to kick it inside 50. Turns it over. Mitchell away to Moore. Hand pass out in front of Perryman. He's tackled, dispossessed. Here's Hewitt. Grabs it. Pendlebury's got him. Josh Dacos with a footy for Collingwood. Hand pass back to Chera. Ump lets them roll. And Cowan gets it out to Lord. Hurried kick finds Curnow now. Kick smothered by Moore. Ricochets to Fogarty. Hand pass back to Curnow. Unselfish. Pulled the kick. Trying to link up with Williams. Great work, Markov. Not good enough. Front on contact and a free kick for Williams in the left forward pocket, and the Blues will get a look at their second.
Was it a free kick?
Yeah, I think that's there. He just got the arms and the front on without looking back at the footy. I was almost going to say Charlie Curnow should have a shot from there because he was within range, comfortable range.
Lost his he's kicked a lot. He missed the first two, so
worked out okay though with the free kick. Williams should put this home for his second.
He is a dangerous player when he's up and running.
So Williams for Carlton's first two. He misses. No, he doesn't. He's got it. He's kicked two in 2 minutes, and the Blues have the lead. It was an interesting response from the goal umpire.
The goal umpire ended up out on Brunton Avenue.
Didn't
He
he?
ran that far.
Gee, jacked a long way to his right and certainly fooled me in the process. Carlton by a point, 2-2 to 2-1, 16 minutes in, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
I'll give you a tip from goal umpires. If he'd run across and stayed, it's a point. It's when they run across and move back, it's a goal.
Come back to the
They
middle.
always come back to the middle, so you have a little bit of a heads up of what has taken place. Mind, they like to dramatise it. They like to end up in Bay, what is it, Bay 8 over there, whatever it is.
I just read out the contested possessions, Mick, and Carlton only had 9. They've had 7 contested possessions since that last centre bounce,
which is a lot in that little time.
So a really important little patch for the Blues here. They've responded really well,
but their possession rate has gone through the roof as well. I know it's only one difference, but they were trailing by 20 at one stage.
Collingwood the opening 2 goals, the Blues the last 2. Tom De Koning taps it down for Williams, can't control it. McStay hooks a kick up towards half forward. Sullivan roving the pack. Can't get a handball out cleanly. There for the Blues. O'Farrell, run down court, holding the ball.
Oh, you don't have that much time on a footy field. Not in your back line. Poor O'Farrell. And he thought he was at training or something. But that's what happens when you're in your second game of footy. The speed of the game. It's not until probably game 50 or 60 everything slows down a little bit more for you. You're a bit sharper with your decision making. He needed to flick that handball off a lot quicker.
Tim Membry hustled the Hoff and he got him. Holding the ball. Set shot. Puts his laces through it from 50. And the drop punt returns Collingwood to the lead. Pies by 5 points. 3-1-19 plays 2-2-14. 17 and a half minutes into the opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
She's been a good pick-up, Mick. Just a really smart pick-up for Collingwood.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of heat. If he gets the 6th forward, which he generally does, 6th back rather, he's going to be probably a bit stronger. He's certainly going to be more experienced. He might be a bit taller. So,
and his leading patterns are really smart.
Really smart. Because he's always had to get out of the way of probably bigger players wherever he's played, Sydney and also here.
Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Hey, Corbin, you'd know boring stats like this. I think 7:40 every game on Friday night footy this year has started at 7:40 in 2 minutes' time. And it is funny. People are still pouring in. And then there's people just around me. I think it's bemusement. Is that a word? They've got their bucket of chips and their beer or their can of drink. And they're looking at the ground going, why has it already started? So I don't think it's been publicised well that this was an early start tonight.
We're already 18 and a half minutes in. We've had 3 lead changes and Collingwood lead it now by 5 on the back of that Tim Membry goal. It was Tim Hodges on the boundary as De Koning gets a free in the middle and Carlton back the other way. Short kick to Chera. Hand pass away to Doherty. Long booming drop punt inside 50. Howe punches it away with the double fister. Loose footy half forward for the Blues. Curnow can't collect.
Such a poor entry from Doherty. He's waving to them now, but when you run past like that and zero pressure on, you just can't kick it up the chimney like that and put it...
Well, there's not even a marking player in front of him.
No.
So it's just tailor-made for the key backs to get their confidence up.
Boundary throw in half forward for the Blues. The rucks bang bodies and off the deck it sits up, but there's a whistle before that.
I was saying throw it in again. That one must have slipped out and fell short from where it's supposed to get to.
And you know, you're not surprised that Brett Rosemary, was he the umpire there? If not, we'll get it in.
It was 18 metres in is how far it's meant to go.
18 high as well.
Not quite 18 high, just 18 in.
That one's perfect.
Darcy Cameron slaps it down to the front, onto it Chris, back flank for the Pies, gets a handball out, bouncing ball, holding free kick. Brett Roseberry all over it, umpires Roseberry, Meyer, Toner and Wallace.
That was strong by Ned Long. He's so good in a contest.
Brent Wallace, the son of Long, drives it, just that, up to a contest. Up they go, McStay doesn't mark. Mitchell fires out a handball to Pendlebury, to Sullivan, to Perryman, in the middle of the MCG, towards Nick Dacos, at full forward, can't take the mark, off the hands of the pack. Markov can't quite run it in. Out of play, thrown inside 50.
We'll keep a close eye on the umpires tonight. Of course, crackdown during the week, the AFL announcing, hey, contact with umpires with broken windows theory, time to crack down. So going back 2 years, if you've had multiple infringements, you end up with your 4th, or 4 or more, you'll find yourself at the tribunal and could incur either a heavier fine or even a match suspension. So Hewitt's had 4 fines, Chera 3. the two players involved tonight that are in the danger zone, and from the boundary throw-in, we're back out of bounds.
And we spoke with Craig Kelly, CEO of Collingwood pre-game, and he was very supportive of it. Some clubs have been quite outspoken about being disappointed in a shift mid-season, but very supportive of it.
Well, there's been umpires being knocked over far too often, really.
Paddy Cripps got that inadvertent poke in the eye from Nick Dacos in all of that. And speaking of the man himself, quick kick going forward for the Magpies from that boundary throw-in. Cameron grabs it out of the ruck and straight onto the chest of the Collingwood champ, and Dacos marks right half forward.
That's a contested mark for Nick.
Yes.
That was once an issue, no longer, but he just...
stringing them together now.
Yeah. Even that there, and this is why we rave about him, he does the fundamentals, the simple things really well. In front, first to move, he's playing as a forward on this occasion. Quick kick out, you're in a great position to contest the mark and ultimately take the mark.
Nick Dacos on the drop punt from 48 metres out, it fades left. And behind, Collingwood's lead extended by 1, so 3-2 to 2-2. 22 minutes in, Collingwood by 6 points. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Also got the teams too coming through from the Eagles and the Giants. I'll update you shortly.
Doherty with the kick in, a good one, right onto the chest of Charlie Curnow, who you'll be pleased, Mick, is working up the ground. Nick Dacos a little slow to get up. The umpire just holding up the play while he did. Curnow moves it to Hollands, kicks back corridor. Chera gives the handball to Doherty to Hewitt. Blues through the middle. Forward handball looking for Doherty a little low. Allows in Hoskin Elliott. They all crash in. And there's nowhere to go. Tom Mitchell ends up on top of it. Ball up in the middle.
No late change in Perth. Malachi Champion. There's a name. On debut for West Coast. He's going to start as the sub. And Harvey Thomas, the Giants' number 1, to start as their sub.
Just the skill level of Carlton, putting that hand passes to their feet. They're trying to get run, and inevitably it's either the second or third hand pass goes to the feet. The player has to slow up, he gets tackled, and it starts all over again.
Bounce in Perth, still 40 minutes away. Collingwood by 6 points here, 23 minutes in. Calls available, by the way, of both games through the ABC Listen app. You can toggle between the AFL and AFL Extra buttons. This is the third time we've done this ball up, same area of the ground. Attacking edge of the centre square for Carlton. Chera gets the break, kicks inside 50. DeConing hands it to Hewitt, short kick, floats onto the chest of Motlop, who dives forward and takes the mark, and Jesse Motlop with it in the corridor, 30 out.
The most impressive player for me for Carlton at the moment is DeConing. He's playing in front, he's hitting the ball, he's coming to meet it, even in the ruck, he's jumping over Cameron, who I rate as one of the better ruckmen in the competition. He's created this because he came and met the football. And
he moved through it rather than just stand and wrestle.
Exactly.
Use his athleticism.
And he's going to worry any of those Collingwood backs.
This man's missing 3 in every 5 looks so far this year, kicking at just 40%. That is one of the 40 though. Motlop puts it straight through the middle. Drops to his knees to his backside in celebration, almost like he's mimicking a video game. Put it straight through the middle, and Carlton level the game. 24 minutes in, 3-2-20 apiece. Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Just quickly, that celebration, the video game, is Diogo Jota, who is the late Liverpool player who passed away tragically last night in a car accident in Spain, just 28 years of age. So Jesse Motlop paying homage to Diogo Jota, the late Liverpool player.
Is that right?
Thank you for that, Benny. I didn't know that.
That's what a terrible. Both brothers.
Awful.
Lamborghini burst into flames. Just who knows why and how. But
so what were you saying, Benny? He played in a title.
He won the league with Liverpool 39 days ago.
Yeah.
And what was married 11 days ago?
Married 11 days ago.
3
leaves
kids.
behind 3 young kids.
Tragic.
Truly tragic. Liverpool have, I believe, today retired his number 20. So that will never be worn again.
I just looking at the replay again. DeConing, most impressive because they've got to keep him out on the ground.
Someone just clipped the umpire then, I think, on the way through. Was it Nick Dacos? Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Yeah, it was just a swarm of players. I think it might have been Nick.
That'll be one to watch. He's got the footy here, gives it to brother Josh. High ball inside 50 for the Pies. Out the back, McStay roves the pack, rams it through. Collingwood back in front. 4-2-26 plays 3-2-20. 25 minutes into the first. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Oh, you know who will not want to watch the replay of that is Mitch McGovern. He just got moved out of the way so easily by Dan McStay. Now, McStay's a big, strong guy, but if you're going to play as a key back, you can't get moved away like that and just let the ball get over the back. Elliott flew absolutely nowhere in the contest. Was Mitch McGovern. Mick, I reckon when you watch that, that is something that would irritate you as a coach.
Well, the worst you can do is lock in on your man. You know, look, if you're worried about the aerial thing, lock in on him so you get him under the ball. Right? It's pretty basic for a backline player. That's the first rule.
Yeah.
Now, if you get done over, then you get done over. That happens.
Keep a couple at the back already tonight, Collingwood. And they lead the game by that goal. Bounces around back at the restart. Doherty to Chera. Hand pass over to Hewitt. Slips over. Still got it out to Pitternet. Blues keep possession. Hand pass to Carroll. His kick heads wide. Fantasia marks on the wing. Looks inside. Short 45 kick to Doherty.
Short, about 7 metres.
Front edge of the centre square. He kicks deeper inside 50. Williams the target. Slides past him. Moore knocks it out wide to Cameron. Little fumble from Quaynor trying to clean up his mess. Coughs it up. Cripps running out of room against the boundary line. Left half forward. Centering kick. Hollins, no mark. Punched away again. Blues win it. Williams, dangerous kick to the hot spot. De Koning and Lord spoil each other. And Collingwood able to mop it up. Last line of defence looked like a certain goal for the Blues. Goes begging. Howe to Sullivan. Now to Myercheck. Kicks down the wing for Lipinski.
Lipinski wants to move it on quickly. Kicks up towards Elliott. He takes the mark. No, he doesn't. McGovern arrives late. He does. Just has enough of it. 60 out from goal here for the Pies.
Well, that's well done. Is it McGovern down here? Yeah, well, that's well done by McGovern because that was a certain goal. He takes that mark. He kicks the football into a Collingwood play all by himself.
Pies leading by 6 points. Elliott sets it up towards full forward. Memory tries to spoil. Out the back it goes. Cleaned up by Carroll. A left foot clearing kick up towards a contest on the wing. The Pies are there in numbers again. Steele gives it back to Perryman. High ball into the pocket. Arriving is Carroll. There's a whistle on the play. Free kick to Collingwood. Markov looks the recipient.
It's a shepherd in the marking contest. It is Markov. You're right, Benny, but I don't know how they've played. It's Chera for maybe the arms wrapped around.
Oh.
But not much in that at all.
Markov ran into Chera to have the body contact. I reckon that's you're really stiff there, particularly when it's like this. This could be a goal.
Only kicked one goal this year, which was marked by a celebration mimicking his young child. His drop punt here is missing. Slightly narrow. Collingwood by 7 points, 3 minutes away from quarter time. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
So it's just structurally at the moment that's hurting Carlton a little bit. They're winning it down back, okay, but then when they try and exit, Mick, it's just all set up Collingwood at the moment. They're kicking 2 out numbers. That is a fantastic mark, being able to take that, Jacob Wiedering.
But that's what they're relying on. Yeah. There's Doherty to Wiedering, who marks, keeps it moving down the wing. Fantasia got it under Moyer. Short kick to high half forward, finds Curnow in that launch pad, 70 out. Centering kick, superb. Akers marks a true centre half forward. Looks closer to goal. Lord has got it. Takes the mark right half forward.
Well, you've got to take responsibility. Is that Akers that kicked that football out there? He's picked him out wider, non-preferred side. Take responsibility from 45 metres. Kick the goal yourself. You're not being selfish by having a shot. You are being doubtful by giving the ball off.
He's put it in the hands of the 20-year-old Cooper Lord. Right, round 10, rising star Nom. He doesn't want to take it. He hands it off to McGovern, who's riding shotgun, drives it all the way to the goal line. It's punched through on the line. And so no one wanted it. Akers didn't want it. Lord didn't want it.
Lord was sucked in by a senior player.
I've still got my old coach's words ringing in my ear. If you're going to call for the ball there, you'd want to damn well kick the goal. I might have been a different word to use.
Collingwood by 6 points, 2 minutes before quarter time. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Well, they've blown a few easy ones. They've run into each other on the back line. They've run into each other on the forward line. That's because they don't play a lot together. I understand that. But so they're in the game.
Maynard with the kick up to the wing, and Myercheck stands in the pack and takes the mark. Not sure what Harry O'Farrell was doing as the kick goes around the wing in the Elliott direction. Close to the boundary line, Sullivan slaps it out.
I was all set to tee off then on O'Farrell until I realised it was him and he's in his second game. He will learn from that. That's not what you do.
One of two teenagers out there for Carlton tonight, so O'Farrell and Carroll. Interestingly, the youngest member of Collingwood's team is Ned Long at 22.
Slapping it down, Darcy Cameron, but pinched by the Blues. Hewitt gives it back to Doherty. Snaps a floater around the wing. Fogarty can't take the mark, and the Pies are there through Josh Dacos. Right in front of the benches to Maynard, to Crisp. Left-footed kick up towards half forward. O'Farrell again competing against Myercheck. Out the back, Wiedering. He just whacks it off a step. Darcy Cameron stands underneath it. Mark strong overhead. The Pies back in possession. 1 minute from quarter time. Collingwood by 6.
I think he's something like 30 days older than Nick Dacos, and if it wasn't for that, Dacos would be the youngest member of this Collingwood team. It's just amazing the way we think of him and the status that he has already in the game at such a young age. As the forward 50 kick is picked off, and Pitternet takes the intercept mark half back for Carlton.
Yeah, he's been okay. He's been okay.
Back in the team today after missing last week. Hands it to Cowan. Long kick to Curnow.
Up the ground. Well
takes the mark in front of the benches. Curnow trying to send it down to half forward. Half a minute left on the clock. To Moyer in a one-on-one. He's moved out of the way, and Quaynor takes the easy intercept one-on-one mark.
He actually had the back space and could have nudged Quaynor under, then gave it up and just got nudged out himself.
Quaynor flares it across the half-back line, finds Perryman. And Luke Ball's old number 12. He goes on a bit of a run, kicks it up over the wing. Flying from the back, Elliott. Got a touch on it. Ball spills to Pitternet. Carlton back with it. Hand pass to Akers. Ugly kick inboard, broken up on the way through, and that'll do us. Through the opening quarter of footy, an earlier start. And if the ground wasn't close to its capacity, at least in terms of our highest number tonight, at the opening, it certainly is by quarter time. A hell of a roll-up for Friday night footy when you got the top team in the league, 2.5 games clear on top, up against the struggling Blues. And we have got another bumper crowd in their house again tonight. The Blues, of course, on a 2-game losing skid with demoralising losses to North Melbourne and Port Adelaide, and yet their fans have turned up again tonight, as have the Magpie Army, as always. Collingwood by 6 at quarter time, 4-3 to 3-3. The goal kickers in that opening term, Elliott, McStay, Membry and Hoskin Elliott. While for Carlton, Zach Williams, the only multiple goal kicker on the ground, and Jesse Motlop has the other. 3 lead changes in that opening term, and Collingwood lead it by 6 at the break. If some of the frees for umpire contact were paid, it would quickly stop. From John of Coburg, putting it on the umpires. Of course, we've had a crackdown during the week about the increased fines and potential tribunal sanctions for players making contact with umpires. And from Will in Terrelgan, in Australia, of course, in regional Victoria, but currently listening from Paris on holiday. I love listening to your calls. Go the Pies. Thanks, Will. Nice to hear from you, and wherever you may be around the world. 0437 774 774. All right, the thoughts of Mick and Lingy coming up next. It is quarter time here at the MCG. The Magpies by 6 points. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
First gig, favourite party tune. Every Aussie song comes with a memory. And on July 26, Triple J and Double J will be counting them down.
Hottest 100 of Australian songs.
Vote for yours now at abc.net.au/Triple J.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Kick from McGovern goes right into the middle. Maynard wins it back for the Pies. Rushes a kick to Myercheck, half forward. He wants to centre it, looking for Hoskin Elliott, and he's got it 45 out. Slight angle to the right. Will Hoskin Elliott, the Pies' Swiss Army knife, is the opening goal kicker of the night.
Crooked down to the middle, up lets them roll. Cameron down to Mitchell, gets the centre clearance. Kicks to the hot spot. McStay competes. Steele has a play on it, trying to rip it down. Fumbles, socked through by Elliott. Hits it off the deck from 30 out.
Tom de Koning down to Zach Williams, who snaps the goal. Can that ignite the Blues? McStay hooks a kick up towards half forward. Sullivan roving the pack. Can't get a handball out cleanly. There for the Blues. O'Farrell run down court, holding the ball. In memory, hustled the Hoff, and he got him. Puts his laces through it from 50. And the drop punt returns Collingwood to the lead. He's got the footy here, gives it to brother Josh. High ball inside 50 for the Pies. Out the back, McStay roves the pack, rams it through. Collingwood back in front.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Collingwood by 6 points at quarter time. The sounds there of the opening term. There's another game to come tonight. It bounces down in the next 25 minutes. West Coast and GWS will keep you updated. There's a call available through the Listen app. There's no late change. The debutant for the Eagles, Malachi Champion, is the sub, and Harvey Thomas for the Giants. Cameron Ling, Mick Malthouse, what do we make of that opening term? The Magpies by 6.
Well, Mick, Carlton, to their credit, fought their way back into that quarter a little bit. And
absolutely.
I mean, they kicked the 3 goals, but they also present themselves with a couple of other little opportunities that they weren't able to take.
Botched up.
Yeah, they did. They did. I think you caught it with Blake Acres not taking responsibility. Kicked it off over here. I can't remember who he kicked it to.
Young player, plenty.
Yeah, but then gave the handball to Mitch McGovern, and it doesn't make the distance, and it's a wasted little chance. So, to their credit, they fought it out. But I don't know about you, it felt still like Collingwood had their hands on the footy enough and were winning contests enough, and it just felt like they were more efficient whenever they went forward with the ball, the Pies.
I just don't think Collingwood need more possessions than their opponents to win games.
Yep.
Because they're so effective and efficient. And also, I said before about Hoskin kicking his goal, he kept his width. And the art of being patient, know what your role is. If there's something happening on this wing, and my job is to be, you don't have to be stuck out on the wing, but be in a position where you can actually know that if they wheel out of that pack, I'm over here, because my man's not going to be sitting on me out there. He's going to be sitting probably 15 metres inside me. That gives me plenty of time to take a mark. It's Collingwood that does the kick off the ground, Elliott kicks a goal.
Yeah.
It's Carlton that looks like they're going to mark it. The Coney goes through and clips one of his teammates, and they lose possession 15, 20 metres out for a shot and goal. It's because they haven't had their communication together. Elliott's a 33-year-old who's been in the system probably 10 years, knows that just attack the ball. And I'm going to take nothing away from Carlton because their intent is there. It's just their efficiency, I reckon. And I said to you before about their hand passing. They get one hand pass, a second hand pass. They're never with a third and goes to ground when it could be already. Look, Curno's in real good touch.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
I mean, he's coming up the ground. He's kicked 2 points, and I think he kicked the one that was marked by Montlop.
Zach Williams.
Williams. So he's in real good touch.
Well, to highlight Collingwood's efficiency, though, Mick, they're scoring 60% of the time that they go inside forward 50.
You hate that as a coach.
Yeah, so that's worrying.
How does this happen, Mick? So Craig McRae's still with his team, only just breaking now, and Carlton's already out in position.
Well, they'll get fined.
Will they?
You get fined if you don't go in on a siren or something.
Right.
It does depend, though. Carlton might have broken early.
I don't think, because the umpires are in position, so my suggestion is that Collingwood are probably late.
Okay.
But if they are, you don't worry. That's why team managers keep hanging on their back of your shirt.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
That's 1,500, Mick. That's 3,000.
Did you pay it, Mick?
No.
The thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. Best team in the business. Great to have them with us every Friday night in Melbourne. Here on ABC Sport, Collingwood by 6 points.
I was never late, Ben.
Away we go in the second term. The Rucks miss it completely. Pendlebury, the smooth mover, grabs it, kicks inside 50. Membry, the juggled mark. How about that for a break?
And can I just say, Corby, what we spoke about with Membry, he's going to get someone who's probably lighter, probably shorter, and far less experienced. And that one-on-one there was inevitable that Membry was going to take the mark.
O'Farrell just didn't quite read it. No. Membry read it better. O'Farrell took just the wrong angle at it. Yeah. Membry took the better angle. But that's what happens when you've played 194 games of footy compared to 2.
That's exactly right. And Pendlebury comes out of the centre with it.
Yeah.
Tim Membry for his second of the night. He's got it. Collingwood with a tone setter to start the second term. And I'm sure Tim Membry's thinking, boy, I've picked the right club. 2.5 games clear on top, and the Magpies 2 goals clear in this ball game. 1 minute into the second term, 5-3 to 3-3. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
So he's now kicked 22 goals from his 15 games, Membry, and has taken some of the workload off Myercheck and Elliott and these types of people. We said before how good a pickup. He's been, but again, it highlights, Mick, the efficiency of Collingwood, because that forward line, it doesn't need to go through one person and one person only. If that had been a Carlton clearance, you feel like it's got to go to Charlie Curnow.
Yeah.
Whereas with Collingwood, that could have been Elliott, Membry, Myercheck, McStay, whoever on the end of that lead there.
Oscar Elliott, like we did in the first quarter.
There'll be people saying, how come Melbourne didn't go and get him, or another club that needs a key forward, and yet you could make the case he might not have been having the same kind of year.
He wouldn't.
Yeah,
He would. He's getting that because of the supply in front of him.
Restart in the middle. Pitnet down to Cripps, who gives it to Williams. Tumbles the ball inside 50 here for the Blues, and quickly they're wrapped up with no room to move. Just some interesting footage of Michael Voss in that opening quarter. He wasn't sitting in the front row of the coach's box with the headset on. He was sitting on the step to the side with no headset. Almost as if he was just viewing this match as a spectator in the box. From the restart, Williams to Cripps, out to Hewitt, who gives it off to Akers. Off a step, fires on goal and misses narrow. A minor score to begin for the Blues. Collingwood by 11.
So not in one of the seats, just sitting on the steps.
No, he's in the steps. I noticed that.
Without a headset on. What's going on there?
I don't know what's happening there. I think he's put himself under pressure there.
Howe comes wide to Josh Dacos. Short kick to Crisp.
It's almost as if he's handed over the reins to his assistants. Like, that's what it looked like.
Well, no, it is what it looks like, but it would be thought out. It would be calculated. There must be some communication they're trying, and maybe he doesn't want the headset on because he wants to talk more openly. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but you don't just hand it over.
Sullivan got a short kick and then went long down the line, put it out on the full. Two number 11s. McGovern gets the free and stands the mark. Carlton footy down by 11 points, 3 minutes into the second. McGovern, contest kick down the wing. Cameron can't mark, broken up by De Koning, spills Carlton's way. Motlop trickles a little kick into traffic. Cripps so clean, hand pass to Moyer, broke one tackle, caught a second time. Howe with the good follow-up for Collingwood, and now a contest results in a ball up. 52 metres out from the Pies goal.
I can't imagine you doing that, Mick.
Well, it depends on... Every coach is different. There's no right way or wrong way of coaching as long as you win games. Let me tell you that.
Collingwood off the back flank. Pendlebury gives it off to Houston. He'll poke a kick out wide for McStay. Marks in front of the interchange benches.
You would have had a designated chair, surely, Mick.
Well, this was generally about who was my chair.
Front row, second row?
Behind.
Second row.
McStay kicks up to half forward, picked up there by Akers. The Blues quickly away through the middle. Off to Chera to Motlop. Pokes a kick for Moyer. Picked off though by Cameron of the Pies. They're back in possession.
There's the difference between disposal.
Yeah.
Pendlebury gets it and kicks it to Membry, kick a goal. Carlton have had the ball as often as Collingwood.
Cameron short to Lipinski, goes wide for Markov. Has it on the southern wing. Short kick down to half forward. Myercheck the target, couldn't mark, follows up, wins it. Collingwood still with it. Myercheck 60 out, kicks inside the attacking arc. Half volley pick up, Pendlebury can't trap it. Hewitt's got it, he's tackled by Pendlebury. Ball comes out, Pitternet for the Blues. Hand pass to Evans, kicks to the wing. Hand on it on the way through from Howe. Force it down to Akers. Blues back on it. Hand pass to Curnow, back to Akers. Kicks to Williams in a one-on-one. Turns Perryman inside out. Williams gets a kind bounce against the boundary line. Closed down by Cameron, cuts inboard. Moyer can't take the sprawling mark, and Josh Dacos able to get it out of there for Collingwood.
Why wouldn't you just hit up Tom De Koning then on a lead?
That's interesting. Why he wouldn't do that for starter, but I reckon there was a free kick there. The umpire allowed the ball to continue. It's 40 metres out. I would have stopped, propped, maybe had a shot on goal.
Collingwood get out of trouble. They led it by 11 points.
Well, Carlton let them get out of Benny because
let them get out of trouble
because of the disposal.
Sullivan kicks up to the wing, and Membry, who's been busy tonight, a couple of goals, takes a nice mark.
There's another shot. You come up the ground. There's a half forward. He's taking this on the wing. We saw Myercheck in the first quarter take probably a half back line. They're prepared to work up the ground, Collingwood.
Membry kicks towards the point of the square. Lipinski in front, through his hands it goes. There's a chopping of the arm. Free kick to Collingwood. Nick Dacos takes the advantage, eyes the goals and kicks it. DNA doesn't lie. He kicks an important goal for the Pies against the Blues. Collingwood by 17 points. 6-3-39. Plays 3-4-22, 6 minutes into the second.
That's why he's one of the very, very best in the competition. because he just exploded through the dangerous part of the ground. Don't worry about getting cheap touches down back or anything like that. Gets it in dangerous parts of the ground and basically didn't even hit 50. He's hit that from, 55?
Yeah.
Out on the run. Superb kick, but that's where you want your mids getting the footy.
Lingy, if I said to you 20 possessions each, this is the contrast. Collingwood 17-3, so 17 kicks, 3 hand passes. Carlton 8-12, and a lot of those 12 have been under pressure and not hitting target.
Look at the kicking efficiency. 88% to 38%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Voss is still in the walkway, by the way, in the box. He's now standing up. Collingwood have a game-high lead at 17 points, and all of a sudden the Magpies have kicked the last 3 goals. Nick Dacos first possession, hand pass to Cameron, gets the centre clearance, kicks to centre half forward, Hoskin Elliott, critical touch, breaks it up, long, kicks to full forward, unkind bounce for Myercheck, got 2 to beat, and the numbers went out as Wiedering knocks it back to Carroll.
He cannot rush that now, he cannot rush that.
He's tackled over the behind line, the umpire says... Gee, it came out in the process of the tackle. So once he didn't make the decision, Lingy, to go back over the behind line, he forfeits his right to rush it.
Correct, no matter how much pressure he's under. So the umpire must have determined the tackle forced that over the line.
Collingwood by 18, 7 gone in the second.
The Pies win it back from the long kick into the middle. Josh Dacos floating a ball inside 50. Wiedering's there to close it down. Gives it off to Fantasia, scooting down the southern wing. Kick good for Fogarty. He'll poke it short and Williams comes up and marks. Now he looks inside 50. His kick is a good one. Onto the chest of Francis Evans. 30 metres out. A very tight angle, worse than 45 degrees.
Which is an interesting call, isn't it? Because you think if the ball comes out in the tackle, it would be either incorrect disposal or holding the ball because he's had prior opportunity.
Yeah, it's true.
You can't say he didn't have prior opportunity because he could have rushed it and didn't. It would have been a brutal call, but it was... you could make the case it was holding the ball.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Francis Evans, 1 goal 2 this season. He was in the VFL's best last week, kicked 3 goals. He misses here. Misses narrow.
So Carlton's ball movement there was better, but he's still having a shot from hard up on the boundary.
5 minutes in for the boundary.
Yeah, because of the hard work of Darcy Moore and also Darcy Cameron to get back into the corridor to not let them bring it back inboard. It was impressive transition.
Collingwood by 17. Pendlebury marks the kick out and goes wide with it. Finds Crisp. He just pokes the pass to Houston.
He's not got a lot of the ball, Houston.
No, got suspended last time these two teams met earlier in the year for his late bump on Fogarty. Finds Hoskin Elliott, who's been good tonight on the wing. Takes the mark. Hand pass to Crisp. Kicks inside 50. 2 Blues collide in the air. Carroll and Akers. Akers follows up as it hits the deck. Got it away to Pitternet to Doherty. Ugly handball from Doherty. Cold turnover. Nick Dacos onto it. He too turns it over. And the intercept mark for Carroll in the back 50 for the Blues.
Carroll relieves with a kick out to Moyer. Backward of the wing on the members' side of the ground. He chips it for Fogarty. It just gets to him. Now it might open up for the Blues on the logo. They're queuing up in the corridor. He chips it short. Right onto the chest of Evans. Off to Hollands. Cruising by. Kick for Akers. Punched away by Howe. Howe keeps his feet. Wins the footy. And the Pies will bounce off halfback. The handball gets away to Roan Steele. He moves it on to Sullivan. And now the Pies down the members' wing.
To Nick Dacos, who's getting busy. Looks back inboard. Finds Pendlebury.
Well, that was just horrible by Carlton.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Pendlebury to Elliott. Got it. Leading out, marking it right half forward in characteristic fashion. And so good overhead for a little man. He pulls it down 48 metres out.
There's the contrast. Ball into a... I know it's a bit tight, but Elliott kicks it from anywhere. To bring that ball back there and find that. Whereas Carlton, they had opportunities through the corridor. They didn't take it quickly. And all of a sudden it was closed down.
Really
horrible.
Carlton had opportunities everywhere, Mick.
Horrible.
Yeah. Decision-making and execution.
Exactly.
3 lead changes in the opening quarter. And Collingwood progressively pulling away in this game. Wide out at right half forward, 50 from home. Jamie Elliott, his kick fades across the face. It won't score in the end. Stays alive. Fantasia's got it. They've all got him. And a ball up top of the goal square for the Magpies. Collingwood by 17. 11 gone in the second term.
Voss has moved back into one of the seats with a laptop in front of himself. Front row watching this game now. from the ball up. Hoskin Elliott trying to spin out of trouble. Ball jars free. Chera can't get a kick away. Under pressure, Hollands. He's got nowhere to go.
It's going to be high contact. Carlton ball, yeah. They got out of that because Collingwood had the outer circle completely free. If that had got to the outside, and I'm only talking 5 metres outside the contest, that's a certain Collingwood goal.
Hollands with the kick up to Curnow. On the back flank, he moves it short. Hewitt accepts it, gives it off to Akers running by. He kicks out wide. Josh Dacos just gathers the footy, beats his man to it. Sweeps a handball to Sullivan. Shovels one over his shoulder and Roan Steele with nowhere to go.
That kick by, is it Akers? I think that's his third or fourth kick that has pulled up short and in the wrong direction, missing players. I don't want to be too harsh on an individual, but he's been pretty horrible.
17 points, Collingwood's lead. Halfway through the second term from the boundary throw-in. Chera trying to get a kick away, smothered. The ricochet turns out all right. Hollands hands it to Williams, takes some ground, drives the kick forward, and Moyo caught out the back.
So sorry to jump in, Corbs. When that kick there were 3 Carlton players running with him. They could have ran that all the way to 30 metres out, basically a certain goal. Blazed away. That was an awful decision.
Yeah, but
awful decision.
Moore just stood there and just knew it was coming to him.
Of course he did, because Zach Williams chose to ignore 3 teammates who would have together run the ball and kicked a running goal. Their decision making is a million miles off right now, Mick.
Well, young Moore too. He's I don't know. He's just not quite there yet.
17 points, Collingwood's lead. That Darcy Moore intercept mark and kick went out of bounds on the wing. From the boundary throw-in, there's a free kick. The 2018 Brownlow medalist Tom Mitchell will get it. First game since Anzac Day last year. For Collingwood.
Going heads up with a business partner and a dual Brownlow medalist in Paddy Cripps. Kicks to a contest at half forward. Sullivan comes bursting through, gets a handball away to Membry. Off to Josh Dacos. Waxes with brother Nick, who kicks inside 50. And Myercheck, a lateral lead, marks in stride, 40 out. Worse than a 45-degree angle.
What came first then, the kick or the lead?
Oh, well, that's a great question. You know, I've been raving about the Collingwood forward line all night. Yeah. I'd lead pretty hard too if I had players like Nick Dacos kicking the ball up the field.
What a kick.
Oh, that is superb.
Brody Myercheck, goalless. His last 3 games against the Blues. Still tonight. Nicks it off the goalpost, through for a minor score. Collingwood by 3 goals neat. Speaking of Nicks, the cricket later this evening. You can catch that on the ABC Listen app. Day 2 coming up from Grenada.
I think they should take Lingy as an opener.
Aussie's all out.
I've only heard how good Lingy is, but couldn't be worse.
He bats like Jeffrey Boycott.
Who cares? As long as he stays in.
Carlton get it out of the back half. Carroll goes long to the wing. Houston tries to spoil, falls down though to Fogarty, to Cripps, to Chera, all by hand. Chera's kick down, turned over. Collingwood win it back. Nick Dacos after the Houston smother, got it to Mitchell. He gives it to Lipinski, inside 50 on the kick, and Elliott outstretched, pulls it down, and then gets into McGovern on the mark. And Jamie Elliott, that's his signature move, isn't it? Bursting out on the lead, and they channel it on the flanks, and a big overhead mark, and another one reeled in there.
And another nice kick to a forward's advantage. He had to go up and stretch for it, but still a beautiful kick to the forward's advantage.
He missed one from there before, so he'll adjust. He's probably about 5 metres closer.
He'll nail this, Mick. He's a beautiful set shot.
Jamie Elliott, 32 years young and 39 goals for the year. Nurses it through. And Collingwood have kicked the last 4 in the game. A couple tonight for Elliott, and all of a sudden this lead swells to 24 points. Halfway through the second term, 7-5 to 3-5. Pies on top, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Now, I'm just going to drop this to you, Lingy. I know that you've got 70-odd interchanges to make during the course of the game. The only time that Carlton look dangerous is when De Koning is forward and Curnow can rove the half-forward line.
Because it forces Darcy Moore to go to De Koning.
That's right.
And sends Howe to Curnow.
It does. Now, it's not that exhausting to play full forward because it's just not. You've got to leave him out there. Yep. And that creates a different scenario. Right now, Collingwood are chewing up. Have a look at Darcy Moore compared to the player he's on at the moment. He's feeding. He looks like Lurch to
Francis Evans.
Honestly, it's just not working.
Is that Adams' family?
Yes,
Out of the middle goes Tom Mitchell, soccering it towards half forward. The Blues are there, picking it up. Is that young Lurch getting involved? Gathering the footy, Harry O'Farrell, and taking the ground at a ball up at centre half forward for the Pies. Collingwood by 24, 16 and a half minutes into this second term.
McStay wins it down, but straight to Hewitt. Blues with it, hands it to McGovern, kick smothered. Back into traffic it goes, and Hollands picks it up from the rubble. He's tackled straight away, the ball up.
McGovern has to play back there because of the height of Collingwood, but at the moment, the height on the forward line is a real worry.
Pies by 4 goals. They've kicked the last 4 goals in the game. Stoppage win for the Blues. Akers to Hollands. Kicks down the wing, turns it over. Quaynor cuts inboard. Dangerous kick. Motlop breaks it up. Blues out. Curnow. Hand pass to Doherty. Open forward 50. Measures the kick. Got it to Fantasia. Just marking in front of Maynard. He had an unguarded goal square. He was about 80 metres out, and in the end, Doherty hits up the one-man streaming inside 50. And Fantasia hugs it to his chest.
Well, we've been critical of Doherty. But Sam, fantastic kick that time. And that's the aggressiveness of Collingwood. They were all outside 50. Doherty had a choice to go to Fantasia or kick from outside 50. And it was a good choice.
It's what they need, the Blues, a bit of razzle-dazzle. The man they call Raz. Fantasia on the drop punt. He sneaks it home. And they count all the same. And the Blues end the run of 4 straight Collingwood goals. Lead cut to 18. Magpies 7-5-47. Blues to 4-5-29. 18 gone in the second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
They get the goal, Mick. Great. Fantastic for Carlton. But it took just a bad decision from Collingwood, a rare bad decision. I think it was Quaynor who went inboard just at the wrong time. Motlop, to his credit, came across and read it really well. But it was more a Collingwood bad turnover that leads to that than any really great Carlton play. The kick, you're right, from Doherty was a good one, but he had no pressure on him, and Fantasia probably fluked the mark more than anything. They need now to somehow turn that type of play into a regular occurrence to get going, get the ball moving their way more efficiently.
The coning down to Cripps. Little 1-2 there with Hewitt. Now left foot, high ball towards half forward. Curnow launching. Doesn't come down with the footy. At the fall of the ball, Markov works his way through them. Curnow's down and sore. High ball to half forward here for the Pies. Myercheck juggles the mark. Attacking point of the square. Looks for Nick Dacos. Tries to body Haynes. Out the back it goes in the Wayne Harms pocket. How to play it goes, and we'll get a throw in.
Well, I reckon Timmy Hodges will have something for us. Curnow wanting to come to the bench. He looks really sore.
Landed on his back. Probably winded more than anything else.
Hodgie?
Yeah, he tried to run and he couldn't. So I reckon winded is the key. And then he said, I've got to get off. So he's just sitting on the bench, not going to the rooms.
I worry about his lower back too, the way he landed there. Just, you can just get your hips and your lower back out of alignment and just everything can seize up.
Boundary throw in. Hewitt grabs the footy, runs straight into McStay. So from a boundary throw into a ball up. Still inside the front 50 for the Pies. McStay doing the ruck work, wins it down. Cripps trying to thump it towards the boundary line. Wayne Harms-esque as Markov collects, gives it to Josh Dacos. Kick smothered out of bounds. We go. 60 metres out for the Magpies goal. So Collingwood by 18. We're ticking the time on here in the second term. This is Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
At least their structure's better in the forward line, Carlton. It's not been dominated by numbers of Collingwood players.
Umpire flings it in. Cameron bringing it to the front. Pendlebury can't gather. Williams goes in, knocks it away. Ricochets off Markov's shin. Mitchell overruns it. Close to the boundary line, keeping it in Akers. Blues ball. Off to Evans, off to Williams. High kick to half forward. Pies have the numbers. Holding free kick or shipping it out.
Motlop doesn't know. Yes, he does.
He was about to race away into an open goal, but Jeremy Howe was impeded. Gets the free kick. His kick not a great one away to Quaynor. Has to step around Motlop. Does that well. And then moves it out wide with a good kick. to steal.
Look at Quaynor's work rate, though, and Motlop just let him go. Now Quaynor's got the mark again, and Collingwood have relieved the pressure. They're up to the wing.
And need you explain that to people at home, Lingy, because you just see it happening.
Yeah.
So he gets a free kick basically in the right back pocket and ended up receiving it again at left half back. Gives it to Nick Dacos. Long entry inside the forward 50 for the Pies. Whistle on the play. Free kick. It's a Carlton free. De Koning had his arms chopped in all of that in the marking contest. Goes back to Wiedering. Carlton back with it. Last line of defence. Hands it to Haynes. Sweeping Polly Farmer. Hand pass away to Chera. Closed down by Josh Dacos. Pokes the kick down the wing and Maynard intercepts.
That handball causes that kick because he's a bit more rushed because of a terrible handball that hits the ground and his eyes aren't up and able to pick out a player.
Maynard short to Mitchell and then Mitchell short back to Maynard. Slow play, the Magpies with it. They lead by 3 goals. Time on in the second term.
Maynard back from that ruptured plantar fascia. Sets it up to the pocket. Punched away by Haynes. Ball hits the deck. Pendlebury gets it. Tackled by Hollins. Umpire crosses himself. Ball up. Collingwood by 18, as Corbin said. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Pitnet lays it down in the pocket. Crisp. No room to work. Taken down by Hewitt.
Shout out to Joanna and Pearl in, is it Cappadocia in Turkey? Love listening to ABC Sport. Go the Pies. Thanks, Joanna and Pearl. Nice to hear from you.
Pitnet takes it out of the ruck. Clearing kick. Josh Dacos doesn't quite complete the mark. Wins it at ground level. Off to Markov. Half forward for the Pies. Long floats a kick into the pocket. Dropped by Pitnet. Let him up. Lord for the Blues. Off to Chera. Clearing kick from Carroll.
Marked by Darcy Cameron. Another intercept mark. Collingwood back with it.
Yeah, well, look at a line of players. This Carlton have got, as I say, they've collapsed to the back line.
Crowded forward 50. Cameron kicks it straight to his opposing ruckman, and De Koning takes the intercept mark for Carlton. Short kick to Haynes, left half back.
But he's got nowhere to go because of exactly what Mick described. He's waiting for his teammates to somehow get forward of the footy.
Oh, floats a kick down the wing, turns out all right, and Frankie Evans marks.
That was luck more than anything.
Well, that was like kicking a potato.
They're over halfway, short to Hollins. Hand pass away to Haynes. Between wing and half forward. Haynes now the long kick inside 50. Is there a marker there? There is.
He's a good little player. He's a fantastic player, Quayno. So strong. He backs himself.
Good overhead, isn't
he? He's just destroying his opponent here.
Problem for the Blues. He was wearing black and white, so Quayno to Houston and then to Maynard at half back. Collingwood with it.
He moves it out to Hoskin Elliott. On the wing, southern side of the ground. Collingwood by 18 points. Comes back infield to Maynard.
Carlton just don't want to play a forward half game. They let Collingwood get to halfway so easily.
Well, Maynard kicks to Hoskin Elliott, who has to slap it down, recovers better, goes long inside 50. Off the hands there of Membry, out of play. Throwing 40 around. Tim Hodges.
Good news for the Blues, Benny. Charlie Curnow back on the ground. Nick Dacos has actually come off for his first breather, 100% game time, up to nearly half time. So his first breather is a well-deserved one.
I love it because he's been resting as a forward pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Which is a great move.
He's had 15 in the game and kicked a goal, Nick Dacos. The boundary throw in. Cherry got a hand pass out.
So that's why I say about De Koning. Why can't he do that? You know, if you're that desperate, you've got to start taking chances.
A free kick for Chera, and his arm held after getting rid of the footy. Goes back and across. Cowan to Wiedering. Wiedering trying out the northern side. There's not a heap up ahead. Tries to measure or spear the kick through to Fantasia. And a hand pass away to O'Farrell. Gave it back to Fantasia and fumbles it out of play. So throwing.
So, Mick, that's multiple times now. Carlton do this switch thing where they try and get a bit of an overlap on this side, but it's so slow, so predictable, and Collingwood are able to shift across so comfortably and cover it. They're going nowhere with it.
Cameron and Pitnet go for a waltz. Cameron brings it down for Chris. Pies away with the footy. Rushes a kick inside 50. Desperate spoil from the Blues. Carroll putting his fist through it. And now Cowan bursts onto it. Just whacks a kick out of there. Back up to the wing. Williams and Moore. Both hands on it, out of play. Throwing. Good contest there on the wing. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Collingwood by 18.
Carlton have got a good matchup now in their forward line. They've got exactly what they need with Howe having to pick up Curnow if they can get the ball.
Cameron palms it down. Hewitt extracts it. A hand pass.
Middle, Pendlebury.
Back in the middle of the ground, long for the Pies. Gives it to Pendlebury. Handball away to Lipinski. Long kick from one side of the centre square to the other. Steele manages to control the bounce. Kicks down to half forward, and Hoskin Elliott caught wrong-footed. Haynes takes the intercept mark. Carlton back with it. Short to Chera. In the back pocket, Collingwood by 3 goals as we close in on half-time.
I don't like Carlton's stoppage setup, Mick. I mean, just the way they play it. Collingwood have always got that extra ground ball and a little handball option, and it's so often to a dangerous player or part of the ground.
Yeah, it is.
And Pendlebury was rolling on his left foot there. If he'd had maybe half a step more, that kick inside forward 50 goes to a really dangerous part.
Cowan's kick up to the wing, punched out of play by Perryman. The throw in now, tapped down again by Darcy. Onto it quickly, Crisp. Handball to Hoskin Elliott, who dribbles the kick inside 50. Slapping it away, Haynes. Did he disguise it well enough? He did.
I just think it was a bad bounce for him. He's none too bad, Haynes. He's not the worst down there, that's for sure.
Throw in 40 around from the Pies goal. Membry and Pitnet. Pitnet to the front. Taps it to Cripps, who leaves it behind. Elliott swoops, swings it on goal. It'll go right to the line, and waiting back there, the mark taken by O'Farrell on the last line.
Yeah, but too nervous to go with any real speed.
Now a long contest, kick to half-back. 3 Blues in it, and Moyer pulls it down.
Well, that's a good mark.
Yeah.
He had a run at it. That's the main thing.
Kick 4 in the Magoos last week. Got a spot back in the seniors. Kicks down the wing. Punched away by Moore. Collingwood win it. Sullivan to Quaynor. Sweeping hand pass. Finds Howe. Sidesteps his way around Haynes. Jeremy Howe eyes the sticks from 60 out to the goal square. They reel in another one. McStay takes a towering mark. Just leaping back into the unknown, and Dan McStay, courageous mark, gets up, wastes no time and pops through the goal. Right on the half-time siren. McStay's got a couple, and Collingwood have got a 4-goal break at the half. 8-5 to 4-5. As we hit half-time, it is a 24-point lead for the Magpies. The goal kickers, 2 each. For Elliott, McStay and Membry, and then singles for Hoskin Elliott and Nick Dacos. While for Carlton, Zach Williams kicked 2. They both came in the opening term. 1 for Motlop, and Fantasia kicking their only goal in that second quarter. 4 goals 2 to 1 goal 2. And after the Magpies led by 6 points at quarter time, they now lead by 24 at the half. The teams separate, and they're about to make their way off. Neither of the subs have been utilised so far. Flynn Young for Carlton, or Will Parker for Collingwood. Game's just underway over in Perth. Updates throughout between the Eagles and the Giants. There was no late change leading in there. Malachi Champion on debut is the sub for West Coast, and Harvey Thomas for the Giants. And the G-men have already kicked the first 2 goals in that game. So we're 4 minutes of game time in, and GWS 2 straight lead. West Coast yet to score. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The legendary Cat Cameron Ling, the coaching icon Mick Moldhouse, with their thoughts. Collingwood by 24.
Mick, I mentioned during the quarter about Carlton's reluctance or inability to play a forward half game. So I just wanted to expand a little bit on that. So because of, and it flows into a bit of what you were talking about throughout the quarter as well, because of Carlton's desire to just get these huge numbers back, even the forwards are coming right up the ground, they're protecting, they're worried about how efficient Collingwood are being. They are living back and getting, the odd intercept and maybe chip it around down there. They have zero ability to get it inside their forward 50. 7 inside 50s for Carlton for that entire quarter. And I reckon, apart from what they kick 1 goal 2, so that's 3 shots at goal out of those 7. The other 4 spent half a second,
half a breath,
inside there, and it was straight back out, and within a fraction of a second, the ball was back to the wing.
Yeah.
So there was no time in that entire quarter actually spent in Carlton's forward line. And it raises so many questions. Yeah, I get it. You're trying to defend and trying to get numbers back, but you're actually hurting yourself. Who's prepared to run hard forward? Who's prepared to be bold and brave with both their running patterns and their ball use to get forward? Who's prepared as a back line to squeeze up a bit aggressively and a midfield wall aggressively when Collingwood do win it back to try and get a turnover immediately rather than just let it get transferred down the other end of the ground, and then we'll all do it.
And jump on now about that play of Motlop. That'll add to that what you're saying about.
Yep, correct.
Quaynor.
So that exact play where Quaynor gets the ball initially, the free kick, then it goes a switch, and Quaynor takes off. Motlop's right next to him
at the time.
Right next to him. Quaynor does the hard work to get the next kick out the open side of the ground, about 80 metres out from their
15,
defensive
20
goal.
metres off in Motlop?
Yep, Motlop just drifts off. Don't want to do the hard work. No, it's fine. I'll just concede a mark. And like that, the ball's at the wing for Collingwood, and all the pressure is off, and then they're looking at, okay, how can we get the ball into this forward line?
Yeah.
That's why. That's why we're...
Collingwood's up top and Carlton where they are.
Yeah, that's probably why we're being so negative on Carlton, but bad luck, they deserve it right now because of the way they're playing.
All it is you were on the mark of Quaynor. When he kicks it and he takes off, he's taking off for a reason. And now we might be just harping on this, but this is a generalism across the ground. So when he takes off, Motlop decides, and he points. And the player who he points to is already about 40 metres off him and mining the next kick.
Yep, correct.
So all he had to do was to chase hard across. He takes that kick out of play. The Collingwood player is not going to kick it to Quaynor with someone right on him. So it makes Collingwood then have to change the direction or change the course.
Or slow down.
And slow them down.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen. And then the ball's in the forward line. That's why it's 7-20 this quarter. And I'm surprised that Collingwood only kicked 4 goals in that time.
And do you know what it says? There's two things that type of play from Motlop. And as I said, this is epitomises the way Carlton are playing. Two things. Either you're not good enough and you can't run with him. Therefore, you shouldn't be playing.
Yep.
Or if you are as quick and as fit and as good as Quaynor and you deserve to be out there, it is 100% a choice. I don't want to do the hard work.
Yeah, it is.
Motlop was actually highlighted, not to pick on him too much, for that exact thing on one of the TV shows during the week. And the reason I remember it is because they pointed out him putting the arm up, like you said, Mick, and they said it was like when you let the ball go down to the third man fielder.
Yeah.
You sort of say, that's yours. And he did that on that occasion there.
You got the sweeper out on the point boundary, and you're it's like, no, you can feel that. That's exactly what it was.
But he had the same incident last week in the game against Force.
That hasn't been fixed up. See, and what Lingy just said then, if I just add on now, and again, this is not a pick session, but Akers with his disposal, he is getting a lot of the football, and quite frankly, you sometimes hope that they don't get it because
Mick, he had 8 touches that quarter. He's had 15 for the game. He's going at 29% kicking.
So he's giving it straight back to Collingwood.
It's interesting. The stuff you guys point out, as you guys stress it, it's not a matter of sort of picking holes in Carlton. If anything, it actually shows that they actually hang with Collingwood in so many areas, and it's because of this stuff that is relatively easy to clean up.
Yeah,
that they find themselves behind in the game.
Mental toughness. It's called that, Corby. It's called mental toughness, and in Akers' thing, it's responsibility.
Yep.
You have played enough games. You should have had a shot on goal for start off, and it's your responsibility to hit that target from 20, 25 metres, but you put it on the ground so the player's under pressure, and Collingwood hunts you. At the moment, the tackle count is 20, all up, it's 28-23. Collingwood don't have to over-tackle because they've got the footy.
So who's that a reflection on? So I know that everything at the moment feels like it's being viewed through the prism of Michael Voss, but...
Well, maybe that's the only players he's got available.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. You've got to be...
And it's both we bear the responsibility because it's what you're prioritising as a coach with your messages and what you're showing. But that's also a player mindset thing. And the reason why we're going on about it is because, let's paint a picture. So 7 inside 50s Carlton have for that quarter, which is abysmal. If Motlop works just as hard as Quaynor and gets across there, and so there's no easy outlet, that Collingwood player, all of a sudden now, he's held the ball for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Umpire says, play on, move it on. The man on the mark can close him a little bit quicker, and then that kick goes high and long to maybe a 50-50 contest, maybe slightly even to the Carlton defender's advantage. Carlton then turn the ball over forward side of the wing. Just forward side of the wing, but forward side of the wing. Turn it over, maybe a little run past handball. Now they're counter-attacking from the midpoint of the ground. they're not trying to counterattack from 10 metres out from their defensive goal and can't move it anywhere, and they just get stuck. So that's the reason why we're highlighting the work rate of Motlop or others to create a turnover in your forward half of the ground gives you a better chance to attack.
But give you more inside 50s, give you a better chance to score.
Correct.
Mick Malthouse would have picked up the Motlop lack of chase on last week's example that was highlighted on the TV shows, and it wouldn't be happening this week. So it feels to me like that falls pretty fairly and squarely at the feet of the coach.
Well, I'll talk for Mick here, and maybe please jump in if I'm talking wrong. Mick would show that to a player, a Jesse Motlop, and probably show it maybe in front of the group, I don't know, but certainly show and say, I'm not going to put up with this. But I'm going to give you a chance to make amends. This is unacceptable. What we want is this. For these reasons, you go out and do it. So you give them another chance to actually succeed in what they're doing. But then when that player chooses not to do it again, I think that's when...
Especially when he starts waving the hand.
Yeah.
So
and that's where you have a problem. That's where the injuries come into it, isn't it? Where then when you have 10 or 12 injuries, it's harder to... integrity of selection and everything else.
Sometimes, Corby, you have to pick workers and not fringe players that may tease you. And this is not against Michael, but the facts are that there's always going to be a difference in talent in a lot of teams, but you cannot if you're going to be if they've got the great talent, you've got to have the great want, and you're going to have the great desire, because that's not talent ridden. That is inside you. And Motlop, among with others, just put your head down and get across and stop that next play. No one else notices it other than you, because you've now forced Collingwood to do something different. But if you've got only one choice, see, what you're going to do in life is, in a football field, is make the opposition have to think about two things, not one. If it's only one, it's so easy. If it's two, there's a hesitancy.
Half-time, Collingwood by 24.
Just quickly, Voss in the box. So sitting on the step without a headset on, the optics of it are going to be highlighted. It's going to be shown on every footy show. I mean, my immediate reaction to it was that it made him look impotent and bereft, really.
Well, I think what the question would be, are you still trolling your assistant coaches in the box by saying we need to do this, we need to do that? Or what are you looking at? What are you seeing? And getting dialogue between the coaches. If Michael is just sitting there and doesn't know what to do, well, it's a clear case of he doesn't know what to do. But I would say that you'd need to ask the question. You were sitting there, was that to absorb the game, or are you still in control of the game? The coach has got to be in control of the game.
It will certainly be asked about it. There's no doubt about that in the post-match press conference. We'll endeavour to bring that to you. Collingwood by 4 goals at half-time. More of your thoughts on the SMS coming up in just a moment, plus Sunday teams and everything else going on in the world of sport. It's all available through the ABC Listen app. At half-time, Collingwood by 4 goals. Let's see what's happening in the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, good evening, I'm William Howard. Some members of one of Australia's largest superannuation funds are still unable to access their money more than a month after a planned outage to its services. Hester, which has more than 1 million members, went offline at the end of April as the fund changed administration providers, but dozens of members have reported ongoing issues. Hester member Margaret Gates was relying on her super to pay for upcoming kidney and knee surgery and says her inability to access money is prolonging her pain.
I'm sick of having pain that could have been dealt with when it first started to become severe. It's just really come out of nowhere lately, so it's progressing and getting worse. So it's left me really, really annoyed.
In a statement provided to the ABC, a Hester spokesperson has apologised to Ms Gates and says it is supporting her to get what she needs. The parents of a 21-year-old are mourning the loss of their son as 2 teenagers face court accused of stabbing him to death. A close friend of Luke Manasseh's loved ones says the family home is like a shrine. Jason Morrison says the family is grieving and angry their son has been killed in an horrendous fashion.
The aggravation of knowing that this is a crime of mistaken identity. There's no reason for anybody to have targeted Luke. There's no reason. He was there visiting someone who he loved.
Police are warning e-bike riders to wear a helmet and not to use a phone while riding, following the death of a teenage boy. The 14-year-old died in hospital after falling off an e-bike in Sydney South yesterday. Assistant Commissioner David Driver is urging e-bike riders not to make illegal modifications and to abide by the road rules.
In particular, if children are riding e-bikes, they may not have the necessary cognitive skills to assess the dangers with speed. And indeed, if they hit a vulnerable person or a pedestrian, they can cause significant injuries if they're travelling at speed.
Changes made by the Northern Territory government to youth crime laws are being criticised for not addressing the underlying issues of high offending rates. Under the changes, 13 offences will be reclassified as serious, requiring children who commit them to attend court, while making them ineligible for youth diversion programs. Social worker and 2024 NT Australian of the Year, Blair McFarland, says the reforms are minor and will have little impact on turning youth away from offending.
It's just fiddling around the edges with some sort of it's a really minor tweak in the legislation, and it's not going to do anything to arrest or actually address the social problems that are creating all the crime.
The Western Australian Supreme Court has told it's implausible 2 men fired guns through a bedroom window in suburban Perth, killing a man. David Webber explains.
Ralph Matthews Cox died after he was shot through his bedroom window in Lansdale in 2022. Peter Nguyen-Ha is on trial accused of murdering him. Mr Nguyen-Ha has admitted firing a shotgun at the window, but has told the court he only fired 2 salt rounds, and another man fired the fatal shot. The courts heard CCTV recorded nearby on which only 2 shots can be heard. The defence has suggested this is because the other man fired at the same time as the second shot. The prosecutor has told the jury that perfect simultaneous discharge of 2 different shotguns was too convenient. He said the damage to the window panels looked like the work of 1 man and not 2.
A bus carrying travellers from Denmark to Austria has skidded off a road and flipped over in northern Germany. Police say 23 of the 53 passengers and 2 drivers have been injured and 1 person has been seriously hurt. The bus, operated by Flixbus, was heading to the city of Rubbel, about 140 kilometres north of Berlin. Flixbus has expressed great dismay at the incident and is working with authorities to determine the cause of the crash. A pair of bills cracking down on asylum seekers wishing to settle in the Netherlands has passed the Dutch Parliament. It comes after a protest from some lawmakers who previously feared the law would criminalise of offering compassionate help to undocumented migrants. The legislation cuts temporary asylum residency down to 3 years, indefinitely suspends the issuance of new permits, and reins in family reunions for people granted asylum. It's passed the lower house, but could still be rejected in the upper house. You're up to date with the very latest ABC News.
Where else will you find free fun and games? Teens being boss, hard quiz, boiled by kids, and of course...
Do not watch this show!
Find them all where it's always free, always fun for the family. ABC iView.
Australia's Test Tour of the West Indies is on now.
What about that? Unbelievable!
Catch every ball on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the cricket button. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Embry hits towards the point of the square. Lipinski in front, through his hands it goes. There's a chopping of the arm. Free kick to Collingwood. Nick Dacos takes the advantage, eyes the goals and kicks it. DNA doesn't lie.
Cherry's kick then turned over. Collingwood win it back. Nick Dacos up to the Houston smother. Got it to Mitchell. He gives it to Lipinski inside 50 on the kick, and Elliott outstretched, pulls it down and then gets into McGovern on the mark. Jamie Elliott, 32 years young and 39 goals for the year. Nurses it through. Collingwood win it. Sullivan to Quaynor. Sweeping hand pass finds Howe. Sidesteps his way around Haynes. Jeremy Howe eyes the sticks from 60 out to the goal square. They reel in another one. Nick Stay takes a towering mark. Just leaping back into the unknown. And Dan McStay, courageous mark, gets up, wastes no time and pops through the goal. Right on the halftime siren.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Carlton, Collingwood, Friday night footy on ABC Sport, and it is Collingwood by 24 at halftime on the back of a dominant. We say dominant? I think we can. 4-1 in that second term, and they restricted the Blues to just 7 forward 50 entries after leading by 6 points at quarter time. The Pies by 24 at the half. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron, Tim Hodges on the boundary, Cameron Ling, the legendary Cat, and Mick Malthouse, a man who's coached more games than anyone else in VFL AFL history. Your thoughts on the SMS in just a moment. The rest of the round, so Sunday teams came through a short time ago. Obviously, there's only 2 games on the Sunday. Ben, you're actually travelling to one.
I'm off to Adelaide and Melbourne on Sunday, so looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing Daniel Curtin in the flesh.
Well, I can tell you Zach Taylor's in and Lockie Murphy's out, omitted, so Murphy, the sub in round 16, loses his place. Meanwhile, for Melbourne, Lever comes back to play against his old team many years ago, and Jacob Van Rooyen also returns. Howes is out concussed. Petty is also concussed, so both of them missing for the Ds. Meanwhile, the Dockers, they're in the early fixture, travelling to Sydney to play on the SCG turf, which has been much talked about all week. The ins for Sydney in this game, McCartan, Amati and Hamling all come in. Francis is out with suspension, Rampy with a calf, and Florence been omitted. It's the second time this year that Ollie Florent loses his place in the Sydney Swans team. He's on the outer with Dean Cox at the moment. Meanwhile, for Fremantle, Alex Pearce, Jager O'Meara, the 2 ins, Fife out with the calf, and Oscar McDonald loses his place. The SCG curator, Adam Lewis, by the way, who's been under the pump all week, and of course the surface criticised after the events there Friday night, or this time last week, hit out today at the ill-informed and unjust critiques of the SCG surface. So he's come out with some fighting words, the curator at the SCG. It makes for...
What's he based that on?
He thinks that the criticism has been unfair.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, I must have been watching a different game last week.
Particularly when Bailey Williams looked like he was about to rupture his ACL and got the jelly legs and the... it's been an issue and has gone back quite a while, by the way, the surface. So that this was originally relayed after the Andrea Bocelli concert earlier in the year. So that the first game that was impacted by it was Easter Sunday. We're now here in almost the 4th of July.
Yep.
And the surface is still creating a few headaches. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it'll all come out on Sunday, but he certainly had some strong words today, the curator at the SCG. Shout out to Matty and Zach in the Seychelles. If only the black and white team had some teal on their jersey, I would be supporting them tonight. Thanks, Matty and Zach. Nice to hear from you. More of your thoughts on the SMS throughout the night. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Second half underway. Pies by 4 goals.
Cameron wins the tap out. Out after it is Dacos. So too long. Dacos has lost his boot. That's Nick Chera. He gets it. Kicks inside attacking 50 more. Reaches over the top of De Koning. Takes a defensive mark for the Pies and takes off. Goes for a little gallop. One bounce.
Ooh,
now Flower Bag up to the wing. Bouncing ball. Controlled there by Doherty. Blues back in possession. Sweeping handball. Hollins runs into congestion. Gives it back to Lord. Lord with a high kick towards half forward. Moore and Quaynor. Take your pick. It's a ladder who marks. Back flank here for the Pies. Collingwood by 24 points. Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron, Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling, Tim Hodges riding the benches. Quaynor with the kick up to a contest on the logo. Mitchell rows the pack. Gives it off to Nick Dacos. Boot back on, laced up a little tighter. Handball to Lipinski. To Long. Arches the back. Sweeps a handball to Sullivan. Tries to dribble a kick on. Full forward for the Pies. Elliott to Sullivan. Another handball. Myercheck slips his man. Goals! Collingwood at their best. Knock on Sir John. Keep it moving forward. And Myercheck goals from the goal line. They lead by 30 points. 9-5-59 plays 4-5-29. 90 seconds into the second half.
And there's just no hesitation with the give. Is there somebody in a better position? Hand or foot? I'll give it to them. Is it now the responsibility falls onto me and I'm the one who now has to finish it? I'll finish it. It sounds so simple, Mick, but it's so important because it's when you either double guess or no, I'm not sure what I'll do, or I want to be selfish, or I want to not take responsibility, that everything breaks down. Collingwood it's on, it's the right call, right decision, I'll do it.
You also got to make sure you've you stick your tackles too.
Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Carlton's, it's their leg speed tonight has been really exposed, but there was 3 tackles there for players that just didn't hold the player up long enough.
Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Back in the middle, Chera first clean possession. Hand pass to Pitternet, and he gives it to Williams. Getting a run through the guts. He kicks straight onto the chest of DeConey. Bursting out from the goal square, and he marks 30 from home.
Well, Williams has got pace, and he used his pace, and this is not a surprise to me, that Darcy Moore is trailing in his opponent. He is a regular trailing, because what Darcy likes to do is to feel the game in front of him, but
DeConey on the drop punt. Misses. Gee, that's a poor finish. 30 out straight in front and behind. 29 points, Collingwood's lead. Early stages, third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Just getting back to that lead, perfect lead, and well used.
Howe with the kick in. Up to a contest, and Cameron reaching over the top. Drags in the mark.
We said Brody Mychek is bang for buck as a key forward. Darcy Cameron would have to be top of the list. Dollars spent on the ruck roll for his output.
Yeah. Maynard with the kick around the wing. McStay knocks it down. Mitchell gathers, gets it off towards Lipinski. Centre half forward here for the Pies. Quaynor back feeds a handball, picked up by Houston. Kicks out wide onto the chest of Steele. 55 out from goal, goes short. Just dabs it to a leading Elliott. 47 metres out, a 45-degree angle.
But they find that space. They find that space so easily. And they find the space easily because they're prepared to give it. But the opposition, in this case Carlton, are falling back to the goal square. Not coming out, not standing in front of them. Because when you stand in front of your man, the kick has to go over your head. You stand behind him, he leads in the space.
Jamie Elliott with his drop punt from right on 50. Here's narrow. Couldn't quite curl it back enough. And a little draw on that set shot. Collingwood lead by 5 goals need again.
Doherty took some ground and then chipped it to Hollands. Missed him from about 20 metres away. Invites the Pies in. Lipinski high half forward. Gives it to Nick Dacos. Kicks for Maynard. The man they call Bruzzy marks it true centre half forward. He's got it 45 out.
This is going to seem harsh, but Doherty was too intent on making sure he ran out of the goal square in order to get a possession to his name rather than worrying about just hit the kick.
It's right in front of you, wasn't it?
He should have kicked it from the goal square and should have just punched the kick in, get it there. At halftime I said to myself, stop being so negative about Carlton. But they're not making it easy for me to start this third quarter.
He's kicked 4 goals this year already, Maynard, and he doesn't add to his tally there. He's first behind, and that's to the left. First game back since round 11. That layoff due to a foot injury. So 9-7 to 4-6, 31 points Collingwood's lead. It's a new game high, 5 gone in the third term. A question from Brendan in Hobart off the SMS in just a moment.
McGovern with the kick in to a contest. Going up, Pitnet, Cripps gets it off hands. Curnow slaps it down. Chera now under pressure. Pitnet too. Coughs up the footy. Nick Dacos comes up with it. Flicks a handball to a running Crisp. Driving ball to full forward. McStay's there. Carroll swats it away.
Free kick.
It'll go to the Pies. McStay to get it. Front on contact. Plum in front. 15 out.
Not sure.
No, I'm with you, Mick.
In today's football, you've got to be able to contest the football. Yes, if you rip the arms down, I understand it. But when that ball... See, McStay's got hold of his own man, and he's... In fact, that's... no, there's nothing there. Nothing there.
Dan McStay trots in. Left foot drop punt. 15 out. Slides it through. His third. And Collingwood lead by 37 points. 10-7-67, plays 4-6-30. 6.5 minutes into the third term.
26 to 12, Lingy. Yep. Inside 50s is 4-2. 500 metres to 200 metres. Contested football is 8-4.
I reckon.
It's just. I hope they haven't left everything in the change room and said, "Well, we had a fair dink and go at half time."
We've seen that a few times this year.
I know we have too often.
It's what it feels like to start this third quarter.
There's no. What you like is a little bit of grunt through the middle, keep your best players in the middle and try to just see if you can get the ball inside your front 50. See what damage you can be done by just doing that for a start off.
Carlton have played 15 games. They've outscored the opposition only 3 times in the third quarter all season. As Carlton out of the middle here, Cowan, the 1-2 with Pitternet, and then Cowan's kick out to half forward. Curnow, a juggled mark with a match-up on Moore on that occasion, leading to the footy. Marks, he rolls from about 55 metres out. The home run drop punt right to the line, and it's banged into the post. Behind.
I don't think he played the mark, Corby.
How?
I've got a funny feeling that was not called.
Wow. So what, he said it was touched on the way through?
Yeah, I reckon he does.
Another behind. If you put that one down to Curnow, it's his third of the night. 36 points, Collingwood's lead.
Maynard's kick up to the wing, chopped off by Pitternet.
So this is where we were talking at half-time. That's where you want to create your turnovers. So you're playing a front-half game. Trouble is, though, if you give a handball to a player running towards the boundary, he has only one option, and that is long to 10 metres in from the boundary. So I'd love to see them, if they create those forward half turnovers, change the angle.
Yeah.
Come back inboard a little bit. Get it to the open side. Explore some of the space on this ground.
Run and carry it too.
Throw in half forward here for the Blues. Pitternet slapping it down. Shearer gets a handball away towards Carroll. Centre half forward to Hollands. Inside 50 to Williams. Worried out of it. Fluffs his kick. It spills away to Quaynor. And now the Pies can bounce. Sullivan away towards Crisp.
The AFL's iron man, Jack Crisp, sends it down the wing, and Wiedering takes the intercept mark.
Terrible kick, but
backing across to Carroll, slips the would-be tackle from Elliott.
I reckon Elliott's just popped the finger out and he's just popped it back in himself. That hurts.
Wringing out his right hand.
Hang on, there's something happening.
No, don't. This cannot be because someone has bent over.
No, I think it might be for Williams in the forward 50. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
But he's standing up.
I'm with Mick. It's a leg injury.
Yeah,
like
he's
hurt a shin when he kicked it straight into the Collingwood player, having a shot at goal. I mean, it's crazy stopping play for that.
Cowan in front of the benches. You and Hodgie just saying eye to eye.
I can't believe it.
First time, I was going to say all year, but maybe in our 5, 6, 7 year duration.
Get on well.
But of course it's ridiculous, but we all complained that they didn't stop it quick enough last night when it was an obvious
when's your head on your
No, I totally agree, but they're obviously paranoid and frightened that they're going to miss something and get in all kinds of trouble.
Well, they're in trouble over this.
The kick down the line ricochets out of bounds. What the throw in high half forward
if it can be stopped for that, it can be exploited. In a final.
I know but I think clearly they're so on edge, aren't they?
A high half forward for the Blues as Pitternet grabs it out of the ruck, hands it to Chera, kicks inside 50. Trying to take the mark. Fogarty slips through his hands, ends up with Motlop. He's tackled, taken to ground by Quaynor. The question from Brendan in Hobart, by the way, earlier off the SMS, will Tom Mitchell and Jordan De Goey be in the Pies' best 22 come finals time?
I believe a fit De Goey will be.
Yep.
Cameron slaps it down. Williams, who's recovered from that shin injury, dribbles it towards goal. Knocked away there by Moore. He'll get a free kick as well.
Maybe not Tom.
This is really what he's got to prove, isn't it? The next, if he gets a run at it here to try and...
If he plays the next 7 or 8 weeks, what have we got? 7 or 8 weeks. If he plays that and they keep him in the side, they obviously want him in the side.
More kicks from the last line for Collingwood, and Wiedering puts his fist through it. Out of play it goes. Tim Hodges.
Ben, just wanted to ask Lingy, what advice would he give as a fellow captain to Patrick Cripps? He's on the bench trying to get on. The player's about 70 metres away, so he's just stuck at the moment. His body language is down. Obviously, his form has been really average after such a great year this year. He's really struggling, as the face of his struggling team, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. It's part of responsibility of you got to get yourself back up to your standard and play your game as well. But then some of it, you just got to fake it a little bit. Yeah. You got to make sure your body language always looks positive. Your talk is directional, is encouraging. You don't necessarily feel it all the time. In fact, you often feel the complete opposite.
You know what they say, fake it till you make it?
Correct.
They're going nowhere fast here. We've got another stoppage inside the centre square. We've had a boundary throw in and another ball up, and the ball's progressed about 5 metres across the ground. Another ball up.
In times of extreme doubt, which Carlton players are going through right now, they just look you look to your leaders every time.
Cameron grabs it out of the ruck for Collingwood, kicks it forward. Wiedering inadvertently soccers it wide. Lord looking for the safety of the boundary line. Collingwood hold him up and force a ball up in front of the interchange gates. Pies by 36, a dozen minutes into the third term. Shout out to Fran, one of our most loyal listeners. Go the Pies, enjoying the call, the special comments. Shout out to the family who are in the nosebleed section of the stands tonight. You know who you are. Thanks, Fran. And shout out to your family who are along tonight watching the Pies. Blues get it going forward. Maynard picks it off, gives it to Crisp. Hurried kick forward for Collingwood.
Bouncing ball, Wiedering in good position. Volleyball spikes it forward. Perryman's there for Collingwood. Flicks a handball away to McStay. Kicks off a step into the pocket in the Elliott direction. Good mark. Out bodies McGovern. Nudges him underneath the footy. Marks overhead. Wide out half forward. Right from where he kicked the goal late in the season. Was it against Essendon Corp?
Yes.
He kicked so many from...
That's a rhetorical question.
Sorry, Benny. Sorry. I didn't read that one quick enough. I saw your smile a bit too late then.
Jamie Elliott from right on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line. His drop punt. He's swinging back and just missing. Not to be. Collingwood by 37. 13 minutes and change into the third. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
37. It just doesn't... I don't think Collingwood have... I'm not sure that 37 is representative of how the game's gone.
No, well, they've kicked 1 goal for Carlton since quarter time.
Yeah, well, that's saying a lot.
Pies by 37. McGovern with the kick-out duties. Drives it up to the wing. Spills off hands out to DeConey. Couldn't keep it in front of himself. Stolen by Houston. Kicks across the ground for Collingwood. Lipinski, big contested grab. Rips it down, still inside the centre square. Sends the Pies inside 50. Here's Elliott again. Leaping up and marking. And he's done it all night.
Who's on him?
Mitch McGovern is his primary opponent. He has been completely towed up.
He has. He's not near him.
No, and even watching him then.
He's off. Hunting his third. Hooks it through. He's got it. And for the first time in his career, he's kicked 40 goals in a season. And we've still got 7 games plus to run for the Magpies. 43 points the lead for Collingwood. And Jamie Elliott at 32 years of age is having a career year. 11-8-74, Carlton 4-7-31, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
And on that occasion, Mick, so Elliott's beaten him a number of times one-on-one. And then on that occasion, Mitch McGovern thought he could outread Elliott from the kick inboard from Lipinski. McGovern's sort of protecting a bit of corridor space, like, no, I've got this one covered. Instead, Elliott just a late little lead and completely caught out. And then it looks like Wiedering or Evans or one of those other players down there is responsible. It's not. It's Mitch McGovern.
And Mitch Cleary reporting during the week a 2-year deal for Jamie Elliott at 32 years of age. You both would be happy giving him that?
Easy, because he looks after himself, you can tell that, and Collingwood look after him.
Here they go out of the middle again, and Elliott once more. It's on his chest. Lipinski to Jamie Elliott. The small forward who plays taller is a Collingwood 6-footer.
I guarantee you the guy standing on his mark and stood on it about 12 times for the night is getting paid more money than him too. McGovern. Elliott deserves a hell of a lot more and a hell of a lot longer contract than Mitch McGovern does at Carlton.
Yeah, well, you've got to play maker and you've got to play saver, but the one is, he is so dangerous ground or in the air.
Jamie Elliott trots past 50. His drop punt is there. 4 for Jamie Elliott. Collingwood's lead 49, and they are screaming blue murder. 12-8-80 plays 4-7-31. This could get really ugly, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Get ugly.
Uglier.
Right. Yeah, well, it will.
I said really ugly.
I think it's been pretty ugly since quarter time.
Really ugly.
Yeah. But I think I just can't see this improving because Carlton haven't got natural pace, so that can't be turned on. Their ball getters are right down. They're not getting this quarter. It's 50. That's okay. It's 53 to about 20 odd. everywhere you look. In fact, I'm trying to find one winner. The old days of one-on-one, you don't do it, but you wouldn't have a Carlton player in the first 10 at this stage.
49 points. Collingwood's lead. There's Taconian in the middle for Carlton, halfway through the third. Sweeping hand pass away to Hewitt. Gives it to Moyer. Tumbles a kick out to half forward. Oh, not quite for Curnow. Eventually gathers, hands it to Lord under pressure. High bomb inside the forward pocket. No mark. McGovern into the forward line. Couldn't trap it and it spills out of bounds. So throw in.
Yeah, they moved him forward just at that last centre bounce.
I wonder why.
Throw in forward pocket for the Blues. Meanwhile, there's another game going on between the Eagles and the Giants. 7 minutes into the second term, and it is GWS who lead by 33 over West Coast. So it is 6-3 to 1 straight. The Giants all over the Eagles in Perth.
From the throw-in, it spills out to Motlop, who swings it on the boot, hooks it through. His second. And it's back to 43 points. First goal of the second half for the Blues. 12-8-80 plays, 5-7-37, 18 into the third. The coaching games record holder Mick Malthouse and legendary cat Cameron Ling.
A nice finish by Jesse Motlop. Somehow, I think, a bit of a breakdown there. Just ended up in a bit of
shallow throw-in.
Oh, you reckon it fell short? Yeah.
And what bothers me about Ruckman, they almost go back to the centre before they can test something. Why do you run in 30 metres when you can go there 10 or 12 metres? So I thought it was a bit shallow, and there it is. Oh, it's shallow. Look how far that they come in.
And they all just missed it. Fell to Motlop. And a beautiful snap, though, to finish with the goal.
Yep. Why do they set up so far back?
I reckon they get worried about getting caught under the ball and just getting moved out of the way too easily. But
so they don't want to give the other ruckman back shoulder.
Yes.
So they just go further and further and back until they're basically in the middle.
Pendlebury, first possession, gets a clearing kick out to half forward for Collingwood. Trapping it on the bounce. Sullivan, hand pass out in front of Lipinski, and Holland shoves him out of bounds.
It's like kick to kick at lunchtime in the schoolyard. Everyone just keeps going back and back and back. They don't want to have a hanger.
Don't want to get stood on.
Well, that's exactly.
But look where they are now. You have a look where these they're virtually in the centre. Well, they could be in the centre square as far as distance go. Now they'll run in. They've got to get by play.
Boundary throw-in, 45 out from the Collingwood goal. Cameron down to Sullivan, shakes the tackle, kicks a signature goal. Lockie Sullivan with his stoppage skills on show. And a stoppage goal for the Collingwood newcomer. And the Pies restore a game-high lead, 49 points, 13-8-86. Carlton, 5-7-37 as we tick into time on in the third term.
Again, this is what Collingwood do really well, Mick. The fundamentals is it doesn't need to be one player. It doesn't need to be Nick Dacos every time or Scott Pendlebury every time or whoever it might be. It is who's in the best position to get on the move, and the other Collingwood players are happy to own the outside space and then let the ball come through to Sullivan. And it was on Doherty and just a million miles off. Sam Doherty really struggles to defend against those quick forwards now.
But it was opened up right where the source is going to be.
Yeah.
If it goes any wider, you run into players. You put the ball in an area where players can run right through the ball and have protection of the ruckman.
11 goals to 2 after quarter time. Williams with the clearance here for the Blues. A high ball to the half-forward flank. Perryman trying to rove it off hands. Loose footy inside 50. Onto it, Houston. He's wrapped up. All up, 45 out from the attacking goal for the Blues. Up it goes. Pitnet slaps it down. Tom Mitchell sharks it. Collingwood in possession. Back pocket. Maynard to Josh Dacos to Long. Gets it off to Steele, who goes short.
See how they hold their position, Collingwood? By that stoppage, they still had a player wide. They knew they could come out of the stoppage and find someone.
Steele to Motlop. Steele. Ball ends up with Dacos, my apologies, and Josh Dacos heads long down the wing. Carlton in the end win it back as Cowan kicks long inside the forward 50, and Moyer, who's a couple back, tries to take the juggled mark, and he ends up with a left half forward. He's now trying to make his case that man on the mark's crept forward a little.
Yeah, he's not a bad mark, this kid.
Yeah, Maynard was making the case that he had the first punch on the ball or touch on the ball.
Just had Motlop on my mind, who's just come to the bench. He's sitting down at the moment, having A little drink at the moment on the Carlton bench as Moyer kicks it straight into the man on the mark as Maynard smothers it and then kicks long to McStay. One out, McCage, he beats Wiedering. Takes the mark, 80 from home, unguarded goal square. McStay needs the coin roll. He got it. Haynes playing the role of Stephen Silvani on the line. He didn't get there. McStay's got 4. And Braden Maynard with the smother and the transition, which leads to the long-range goal. And Collingwood are having a party at the G. The Pies by 55 points, 14-8-92. Carlton are 5-7-37.
And Nick Haynes.
Yeah, he crashed into the advertising hoardings behind the goal. He was running full speed straight into them. They're LEDs now, so they're very sharp little glass spikes or sort of plastic spikes. And he hit it at force and is now going to come from the ground. Doesn't look in a great way, Hodgie.
Tim Hodges.
Just got the Collingwood sub at the moment, guys. It's Jeremy Howe. I reckon they're just managing minutes at the moment. Will Parker is already on the ground, the sub, and Jeremy Howe has come off. I think he's pretty happy to actually be given the substitution T-shirt, so I think he's happy for an early night.
It was the other end of the ground, but Silvani, of course, chasing a Michael Long kick in the 93 grand final.
Still gets a sore finger on a cold night, he says.
The Blues take the advantage out of the middle. Chera goes long to centre half forward. Moore can't complete the mark and knocks it out anyway to half back for Collingwood.
Ryan Steele picks it up, gives it off to Perryman. Perryman with the kick up towards the wing. Unable to gather there is Hoskin Elliott, but gets away with the footy quickly. Membry breaks a tackle, flicks a handball to Hoskin Elliott, who runs around his man, kicks into the pocket, looking for McStay again. He's got it. No. Just dropped it at the last minute. Now running rampant.
Well, there's no resistance, Benny, because with all due respects to the first half where you thought Carlton had a real crack at it, but you'd come up 4 goals short by half-time, the heart's gone out of it.
Throw in forward pocket here for Collingwood, slapping it down pit net, back boundary side. Akers overruns it. And another throw in coming. Collingwood by 55, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, they had 2 players running towards the ball. Both looked at each other and ran out of bounds. No Collingwood player within 5 metres of them.
6 goals to 1 in the quarter already. Collingwood by 55. Meanwhile, the Giants by 33 in Perth, halfway through the second term there. Approaching three-quarter time here. Carlton from the stoppage. Lord kicks down the wing and an intercept mark for Darcy Moore. That's what he does. Picks him off. He's got the white headband on, the Collingwood skipper. And the Premiership captain's going to go back down the wing. Close to the southern boundary line. There's a push in all of that, but not spotted. And Darcy Cameron takes the mark. Lays it off by hand to Josh Dacos. In that launch pad, 70 out. Kicks inside 50. Membry leaps up, no mark. Falls to Long. Jams it on the boot. It's a Collingwood goal. It's their 7th goal in the quarter. Hot Pies at the G. And the lead swells beyond 10 goals. 61 points Collingwood's way. 15-8-98. Carlton 5-7-37. 26 gone in the third term Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Mick, I've got a couple of stats for you that I think is going to highlight just how impressive Collingwood's work rate is around the ground. So this quarter alone, Carlton are winning the clearances by 7. So each of those count as a contested possession.
Yep.
But Collingwood are winning the contested possessions by 8. So if they're behind by 7 on clearances, they're basically winning contested possessions by 15 around the ground. So Collingwood's ability to get to the next contest and then the next contest and then the next ground ball is just destroying Carlton at the moment with their work rate.
Well, even here, you see when that ball falls, Long's in front and Collingwood surrounding it. Carlton surrounded, but they haven't got any numbers.
Out of the middle go the Pies again. Nick Dacos away towards Pendlebury, who goes to Sullivan, just dabs it into the pocket, and Chris Marks close to the boundary line. And they are playing with their food at the moment.
We said it might get uglier. This could be, well, it can't get any worse the way the game's going, because it's at the moment.
Are you thinking 3 figures, Mick?
Oh, I am thinking 3 figures. This is the start of it.
Crisp with the drop punt. Something special from the Iron Man. Collingwood are running up a score on their oldest rival. 16-8-104 plays 5-7-37. 67 points before three-quarter time.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people leave.
6 players for Carlton haven't touched the footy this quarter.
No.
That's basically a quarter of your team hasn't touched the footy.
As the colour started to drain out of the crowd, Tim Hodges, it feels like the Navy Blues getting a little thin on the ground.
Honestly, Corbin, you look at every aisle around the stadium and it's people leaving. It's there is just this is a hard sell for the Blues of what to do in these final 2 months of the season, and then what on earth happens at the end of the 2025 campaign with what happens with their players on the field and their coaching staff off it.
Does a big loss to your biggest rival hurt your coach's future more than others, Mick? Lingy?
Oh, I don't think the rivalry's got anything to do with it. It's your method of who you play and how you play. It doesn't matter in today's football. Players don't take on it like supporters do, Benny.
Blues had it, they cough it up. Sullivan gives it to Pendlebury, mowed down McGovern coming out of the forward line with the chase down tackle.
No, but what does happen is that the board are primarily fans, Mick, and they hear from fans, and all of that noise when you lose to your biggest rival, it swells, and then all of a sudden, I think the pressure grows. That was more the point. That
Can he take any more pressure? I mean, it's just constant pressure at him.
McGovern, short to Cowan. Cowan goes long down the line. Ball spills out the back of the pack. Pendlebury got it away by hand to Josh Dacos. Works his way through traffic. Long. Receives a handball, gives one. Out to Crisp, who breaks a line, bursts away. Handball to Nick Dacos. He's met by... he gives a handball away as Cripps just upends Long. Carlton win it back. Akers to Williams. Hand pass away to Curnow. Threads it through by hand to Evans. Shoots goalward. Misses. A behind for Frankie Evans. Clipping the post on the way through. Make it a 66-point margin. So Collingwood by 11 goals neat. 30 minutes played in this third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
There's the contested possessions. I think 77-101. And to win that when you're a very good football side, that doesn't leave a lot of wriggle room at all.
Josh Dacos short to Maynard in the pocket, who stabs it low and bullet-like. Away to Crisp. It just chips his kick over the top to the run of Long. He gives it off to the run of Nick Dacos. Forward half now for the Pies. Outside of the boot. Exquisite to a sliding Membry. And he is a ball artist. Nick Dacos with the way he can kick the footy. Membry goes to Pendlebury. Comes infield to Josh Dacos. Just forward of the bullseye. Looks into the pocket. McStay goes up. Through his hands. Spills down for Cooper Lord. Handball away towards Motlop, who slaps it on. And they're set upon the Blues. Ball up right on the digits of 50. Collingwood by 66 before three-quarter time.
Carlton's heaviest loss this year, 60 points to Adelaide. Earlier this year at Adelaide Oval. From the restart, Carlton winner Lord. Hand pass away towards Williams. He kicks across the half-back line and finds Akers. There's Long down the wing. Doherty leading back towards the Carlton goal. Takes the mark. Right on halfway. Hand pass to Hollands. Kicks down to half forward for Curnow. Curnow looks into the pocket. Tries to thread it to Fantasia. Missed him. Moore's onto it. Hand pass looking for Maynard. Ends up out of bounds. So a throw in right forward pocket for Carlton.
Well, you can see what Charlie Curnow was doing there. He was making the player run to space. And he looked like he was going through a treacle. So that's how slow he was getting to that.
Good news is I've learnt in the last couple of years what treacle is, Mick.
Good. Have you had any?
Thanks to your education. Certainly not. It was as slow as that port you had, though. As it's tapped down here by Pitnet. Curnow bursting onto it outside of the boot. Rams it into the post. And that sums up the Blues' night. 65 points Collingwood's lead. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. 72-year-old Port, Mick, was it?
3 behinds and 1 touched on the line for Curnow tonight. Still goalless, as he has been the last 2 weeks. Pies work it up to half-back. Elliott the target and knocks it out of bounds. So 32 minutes gone in the third. 65 points Collingwood's lead. Plenty of people listening all around the world. The Allen family in Vietnam, great call, guys. Go the Blues. Sean's listening in Copenhagen, same sentiment. Go the Blues, but I think we're done. Pete from Cottesloe, who's travelling in Italy, loving the commentary, boys. Nice to hear from all of you, wherever you are around the world. Collingwood up inside 50, but Wiedering picks it off, gives it to McGovern. And he kicks wide, finds Akers at half back.
And so he hands back the problem. Akers gets it, kicks it 20 yards back.
And this is Cowan with it for the Blues.
Cowan kicks it up to a contest. Pitnet stands in front, comes down with the footy. Collins peels around the back, ignores that. Sets it up in the Tom de Koning direction. More. Go gadget arms, punches it to the boundary line. Eventually it gets there, a throw-in to come.
So the attacking option then was long kick, hope for a Pitnet mark. Great, he marks it. The next option was long kick, hope for a de Koning mark, Nut gets spoiled out of bounds. There's no urgency to find other ways forward and other avenues to kicking scores.
No.
Collingwood by 65. Forward 50 stoppage for the Blues. De Koning double palms it back to the boundary. After it, Williams. Right there is Dacos, also Quaynor, and they force out their Blues opponent. Motlop just gang tackled, bracketed by a couple of pies. And another throw-in coming in the forward pocket. Collingwood 65 points to the good. 44 seconds away from three-quarter time.
They were competitive in the first half, the Blues, particularly in the opening quarter. There were 3 lead changes, and then from that point on, Collingwood just taken over. Boundary throw-in, forward 50 stoppage for the Blues. Fantasia got it out to Curnow. Extra handball to Williams, who snaps and goals. And there's something for the Blues to cheer about. Williams with his third of the night. And Collingwood's lead trimmed to 59. So 34 minutes played in the third. Carlton 6-9-45. Collingwood 16-8-104. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
We'll see one blue flag waving. You always feel sorry for supporters.
I thought it was a white flag.
No. You never want to say that about a side. You just say that their confidence is down. It's when you've been out in these sort of games, you can get been part of games that have been absolutely flogged. You'd like to think you tried. You'd like to think you kept on going, but things didn't work for you. The opposition, once they got their tail up, and particularly a Collingwood side like this that use the ball so well and are so well drilled, it's always hard to stop.
Restart in the middle, slapping it down, Pitnet. Nick Dacos swoops on it though. Left foot kick, delicate. Finds Sullivan, plays on. Handball to Josh Dacos. Rushes his kick, bouncing it full forward, knocked away by Cowan. Blues pick it up through Doherty. Off the Chera to McGovern. Shanks his rushed kick. Might work out. Akers underneath it. Drops the mark. Pies back with it half forward. Houston away to Pendlebury to Crisp to Nick Dacos. Plays for a high free kick, gets it. And he'll get a set shot after the three-quarter time siren. 45-degree angle.
That was there, wasn't it?
Let's see. No.
You don't reckon?
No way. Jeez. Not a chance in hell that was a free kick.
He's allowed to bend down and pick up the footy. He's got the arm draped over his shoulder.
No, only because he ducked into it.
He's got to go pick up the ball. What's he meant to do? Solo it up to himself like the Gaelic game.
I'd like to see it again. You're allowed to have that contact. No, I don't think the free kick is there, personally.
Dacos with the set shot. Believe it or not, he was a boyhood Blue. He misses this to the left-hand side. And Collingwood lead by 10 goals neat at three-quarter time. 16-9-105. Plays 6-9-45. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The goal kickers, McStay with 4, Elliott with 4, Membry with a couple. Singles to Crisp, Hoskin, Elliott, Sullivan, Nick Dacos, Myercheck and Long. While for Carlton, it is 3 to Williams, 2 to Motlop. And Fantasia is their other goal kicker at three-quarter time.
60 points the margin. Meanwhile, GWS and West Coast, so the Giants 8-6-54, West Coast 3-1-19. That is 3 minutes to go before halftime there. So we'll take you there for the concluding stages, but it's GWS who are in command at the moment, a 35-point buffer over West Coast. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The thoughts of Mick and Lingy coming up next.
ABC Listen. Keeping bored parents busy is easy with the ABC Listen app. Then we can listen to our stuff, like Bluey Listen Along and all new Dino Dome. Hear it all now on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Nick Dacos, boot back on, laced up a little tighter. Handball to Lipinski, to Long, arches the back, sweeps a handball to Sullivan, tries to dribble a kick on, full forward for the Pies. Elliott to Sullivan, another handball. Myercheck slips his man, goals! Collingwood at their best.
Boundary throw in, 45 out from the Collingwood goal. Cameron down to Sullivan, shakes the tackle, kicks a signature goal. Lockie Sullivan with his stoppage skills on show. And Moyer kicks it straight into the man on the mark as Maynard smothers it and then kicks long to McStay. One out in the cage, he beats Wiedering. Takes the mark, 80 from home, unguarded goal square. McStay needs the coin roll. He got it. Haynes playing the role of Stephen Silvani on the line. He didn't get there. McStay's got 4. Josh Dacos in that launch pad, 70 out, kicks inside 50. Membry leaps up, no mark, falls to Long, jams it on the boot. It's a Collingwood goal. It's their 7th goal in the quarter. Hot pies at the G.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Listen app, it's the place to be. You can listen to the footy there. You can toggle between the two games on this Friday night. So here it's Collingwood by 10 goals, and over in Perth it is GWS who lead by 35 over West Coast. 2 minutes before half-time. They're both on the ABC Listen app, as is all the NRL coverage. You'll find coverage of Wimbledon there as Day 5 begins tonight, and of course coverage of Day 2 of the second test from Grenada. So our coverage later tonight, the Aussies in the field after compiling 286 with the bat. So that West Indies first innings will start at about midnight Eastern, so our coverage from 11:45 p.m. The thoughts of Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse, three-quarter time at the G, Collingwood by 60.
Off air, we were discussing who would play from Carlton and Collingwood side.
Yep.
It's something I used to do as a coach virtually right through from game one. I used to look at the opposition and think how many of my players can fit in there and how many of those can fit in there, and gives you a bit of a balance. As you said, then Curnow hasn't kicked a goal,
no,
but at the moment he's getting starved of the football, and he's probably stiff. He hasn't kicked 3. Wheating's held up.
Yep.
De Koning, I think, has been
okay.
Okay, he's been okay. If you set him on the bench at Collingwood and changed him with Cameron, you'd go, we're not going to lose a lot from that.
And not on tonight's performance, but in general, Paddy Cripps.
Yeah,
those 4 would get a game for Collingwood.
Tonight, though,
no. But even outside of tonight, no other player would get a game for Collingwood.
No.
And that to me shows how impressive Collingwood are with their depth. They've brought a couple of players in, and they're missing a couple of themselves. But you're right, Mick. There's a big gap there. That was a dominant quarter from Collingwood. They absolutely destroyed them. And amazingly, one of the things we talk about with Carlton as a strength of theirs is their clearances. They doubled Collingwood in clearances, Mick, 16-8. Carlton won it.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. It didn't matter because the secondary contested ball was Collingwood's. Their ball use and efficiency was so good. They just cut them to ribbons and then piled on 8 goals for, 12 shots at goal in that quarter.
If I say these names to you, it'll all join. The dots will join up. Lipinski, Mitchell, Houston, McStay, Perryman, Cameron, Chris, Membry, Oscar Elliott, Markov, Howe. Don't know whether it was Long. He wasn't on a list.
Hawthorns.
Was he on a list?
Yeah, I'd have double checked that one. But yeah, they've all come from other clubs.
All come from other clubs.
And they understand with perfect clarity their role.
Yep.
What's expected of them.
Yep.
They grab their moments when they need to, but they do their fundamentals really soundly.
Well, they just destroyed Carlton.
Yeah. It was a mighty impressive quarter from Collingwood, and I cannot say the same, Benny, about Carlton in that quarter. They were terrible.
Thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling at three-quarter time. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Carlton has made their substitution. Flynn Young is into this game. Zach Williams is out with a right shin injury he hurt in that last quarter. He's their highest goal kicker out there. The only guy who's looked like kicking goals for them. Unfortunately, he's subbed out of this match.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Fourth quarter underway. Free kick to Cripps. Kicks long inside 50 for the Blues off the hands of the pack. Holding free kick. Collingwood free.
Darcy Moore's ball. I know Zach Williams has kicked 3, but don't anybody walk away from this game and think he's played okay, by the way. He has been part of a midfield for the majority of the game who has been destroyed on his work rate. He is okay when the ball is near him and can get ball in hand. He does nothing the other way.
That kick by Moore has gone lateral, but the player stayed wide to draw that ball. Now, they'll just settle into a rhythm here, Collingwood.
So Moore kicks it out to Maynard, who goes to Houston. He goes with a contest kick and the intercept mark taken by Harry O'Farrell. Hoff marks his kick, a turnover straight back to Perryman.
But I don't want to... That kick there was just a one... That's the only thing he looked at. I'm going to kick the ball there, and you pay a penalty.
That's the day before the game training run.
It is.
That one.
It is.
Where just one step, they just pop it over to a teammate because there's no pressure on.
Lingy, there's a horrible rule in football at the moment that is exploited by the best and just a nuisance to the worst, and that is stand. Have a look. All the best sides, they draw the player on the mark, they get around him, they get yardage, and away they go.
Perryman went long down the line. It was knocked out of bounds from the stoppage. Carlton get a little bit of go forward. Bounces down to the flank and taken by McGovern. Hand pass out to Cripps. He slips the tackle. Firstly of Moore and then of Long. Hand pass inside to Curnow. Links up with McGovern. Jams it on the boot right to the goal line. And in the end, Quaynor punches it through for a rush behind.
But Mick,
they minor score.
On your point about the stand rule, while it's in, exploit it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So, that Carlton player in the back flank there that took that mark, at no stage did he take the Collingwood player on. Now, I reckon Collingwood actually play the game a bit. They play it before the umpire calls play on, but they get away with it. But they don't move the ball. Collingwood will get around the bloke on the mark and utilise that type of play.
Flynn Young, the sub into the game for the Blues. Kicks from the wing inside 50, mopped up by Perryman. Gives it off to Maynard, who chips it short to Perryman. Just marks in front of a closing Young. Now, just at three-quarter time as they ran back to positions, I've just seen it replayed on the television broadcaster. Charlie Curnow running into his attacking 50, dishing out a few low fives to Darcy Moore first and then Jeremy Howe as the Pies work it down the wing. Sweeping a handball, Markov away to Hoskin Elliott. High kick towards full forward. Up goes Membry, roving the pack. Lipinski! He misses left, overcooks his snap. Minor score, Collingwood by 61. So almost
you're suggesting he's going to go there next year?
I don't necessarily have an issue with it, but would you as a coach, Mick, team down by 10 goals and...
My word, I would.
Lingy, you as a captain?
My word, I would if it's during the game. Absolutely.
Hollands on the kick-out duties. Hands out to half-back. No mark on this occasion for the Blues. Motlop keeps it going forward. Parker jumps in on top of it for the Pies. Pack forms around him and the ump says, I'll have it.
Some players are different in their approach. You have to allow that difference. But you can have a quiet word in their ear and say, just don't let it be so visual. Sometimes that's important.
Both the subs out there, Will Parker and Flynn Young, as Ben mentioned. For Collingwood and Carlton, respectively, from the boundary throw-in, kick forward for the Blues off the boot of Chera. In the end, it spills out of bounds as Parker is helped out by Motlop. Will Parker is a former cricketer, played not only for Victoria in state cricket, but also for the Hobart Hurricanes. Best friends with Jake Fraser-McGurk, of course, the
Rooster.
Tyro, the Rooster. Currently plying his trade over in the Major League Cricket in the US.
Not our favourite former Hobart Hurricane spinner, though, of course. Xavier Doherty holds that mantle as Roan Steele on debut away with the footy. Short to Lipinski, Pies into attack again. Looks inside 50. Beautifully weighted kick for Myercheck. 25 out slide angle. All too easy for those in black and white.
I'm trying to spoil that then. That was young.
Yeah, the young fella, unfortunately.
Oh, Farrell. Oh. Yeah, well, he slapped fresh air. Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He missed that by half a yard. The thing is about football, you are allowed to put body contact on. He could have. Most backline players would have spoiled that. It hung in the air long enough.
Myercheck tugs it hard left. Collingwood by 61 points. 16-11, 107 plays, 6:10:46. 5 minutes into the fourth. Also at three-quarter time, Voss appeared to get his leaders aside. Had a little bit of a chat to some of his leaders at three-quarter time, separate to the main group.
Doherty takes some ground and then long kick up to the wing, and Moyer can't trap it. Out of bounds it goes. Southern wing. 61-point lead for Collingwood. Gee, it looked at one point this was going to drift out close to three figures. We've had 5 90-plus results this year. None in the three figures.
Well, don't put it away yet, Corby. Okay. Collingwood can kick very quick goals, and no one can hang their head like Carlton can at the moment.
61 points the margin. Pies from the stoppage. Markov to Long, hand pass inside, turnover. Fogarty got it for the Blues to Hollands. Now on to Pitternet. Hand pass to Doherty. Sweeping Polyfarmer. Hand pass out wide. Finds Lord. Kicks inside 50. De Koning competing. No mark. Falls down to Motlop. Hands it to De Koning on his knees. Still got it out at half forward. To Hewitt. Now to McGovern out wide. Centering kick. Turnover. And Parker takes the intercept mark. Fullback for Collingwood.
Got the Karate Kid headband on.
I feel like just on that triple figure possibility, I reckon Collingwood have just gone into a little bit of management phase in this last quarter.
Cowan intercepts the kick out of D50 for Crisp. He turns it over. Will Parker. He's not into management mode just yet. The sub is fresh. Kicks into the middle of the ground looking for Elliott. Spoils it down to Haynes and then turns tackler Elliott.
I just think positionally they're going to try a few things. They'll just, I reckon, spend a little bit more time on the bench. Certain players, they're not too stressed about what the margin ends up being because they don't need the percentage.
Here's Nick Dacos. Roves the footy. Elects to kick long inside 50 towards Membry. Off his fingertips, out the back. Wiedering out after it. Into the pocket they go. Wiedering's hatching an egg. The umpire lets them rumble. And the umpire wants it. A left forward pocket. Collingwood by 61 points, 7 minutes into the fourth.
And when you're 2.5 games clear on top of the ladder, you can manage. You're not too stressed about your percentage.
Pitternet wins the hit out. Down in front of Lord, hands it back to the ruckman who clears with the kick outside the defensive 50. Perryman traps it for Collingwood, gives it to Moore. His kick smothered. Carlton win it back. Hollands, hand pass out in front of Fogarty. He's off on a run. Logo southern wing goes short. Finds Fantasia, dabs it back inboard to Evans. He's got a couple of players working for him, running inside 50, and one of them is Hollands, who marks wide out right half forward, 40 from home.
Well, even that, I think you might be right, Lingy. They put the queue in the rack. There was 4 Collingwood players, 5 Carlton players, or maybe it was 3 and 4, and we still find the ball in a all good position, and it could well have been in front of goal. Again, wrong option, just didn't work hard enough with the ball at the time.
Half-time in Perth, Giants by 35 points over the Eagles. Here's Hollands. The set shot, it's on the behind line, it never got anywhere. As Darcy Cameron takes the intercept mark on the behind line. And Collingwood keep the margin at 61. 8.5 gone final term, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Short kick to Quaynor in the back pocket, who goes slightly further into the back pocket, and Nick Dacos. Collingwood by 61 points. As Josh Dacos sends a kick in the Oleg Markov direction. Lord rows the pack for Carlton. Handball to Fogarty to Cripps. Coming infield now. Carroll on his left. Waits his kick for a leading Moyer. Lands on his coccyx.
Yeah, he's got a good set of hands.
He's a good mark. Now I can understand why they've been playing him, or trying to play him out of the goal square. Not against Darcy Moore. You don't play him out there. You play him. He's a medium size. Play him medium. Play him a bit how Collingwood play Jamie Elliott. That sort of role. He's a good mark. Be interested to see now how he kicks.
Yeah, kicking has been interesting tonight.
Yes, it has. He leans towards his right and drags it to the left.
Kicked 4-1 against Port Melbourne in the VFL last week. This drop punt is pure. Never deviated.
Well, good on him.
Carlton get the first of the fourth term and bring it back to 55 points. 16-11-107 by 7-10-52. Nearly 10 minutes in. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
He's had 6 and 2, has he, Lingy?
He's had 8 touches. Yeah, taking the 4 marks.
And good marks.
Yeah.
They have been really good marks. So there's a little bit there. But he needs a lot of support down there. Curnow still hasn't kicked a goal, and I don't think he's had such a bad game. It's drifted off since half-time, clearly, but the ball hasn't been down there that often.
No.
And I don't think his work rate has got him up the ground. Since he's landed on his back, he hasn't been able to... He just doesn't seem to be working up the ground to take the ball off the half-back line. And that may be understandable. He's a good player.
Back in the middle. And Carlton away with it as Hewitt gets the centre clearance, kicks it straight to Parker. Takes his 3rd intercept mark in the quarter. As he then sends the kick out to a 1-on-1. Flynn Young, the opposing sub, breaks it up in front of Markov. Oh, knocked it away towards Fantasia. He turns it over. Collingwood win it back. Here's Josh Dacos, gives it to little brother Nick against the boundary line. Oh, feints to hand pass and then decides to take on Chera. Kicks to a 2-on-1 at half forward, but Carlton win it back. And Haynes able to dab it short to Young. That's Flynn Young, kicks inboard, turns it over. Perryman wins it back for Collingwood.
Markov sweeping a handball for Long. Runs through a couple of Blues, gives it back to Markov, waits a kick. Pendlebury with Doherty right there with him, a couple of vets. 46 metres out, Pendlebury will have the set shot.
It's funny watching Parker out there. Number of intercept marks you've already spoken about this quarter. He's playing to show Craig McRae, I can be part of this team. So he's still trying to play electric, high-paced football. A number of his teammates are just saying to him, let's just go in the kick mark. Let's just keep possession. We're done. We've already got this game under control.
The old leg's got this kick in them? No. He chips it to the pocket instead, trying to find Membry. And the Blues back there, Hollands punching it away. Throw in left forward pocket, Collingwood by 55. 12 minutes into the fourth. 75,827 in attendance here tonight.
MCC were pretty much on the mark. They said 75,000.
Generally, no.
Yeah,
generally pretty good.
A boundary throw-in. Pitternet wins it down. Lord kicks it out of the defensive 50, close to that southern boundary line. Moore thought about keeping it in, and in the end his Carlton mates help him out. So boundary throw-in southern wing. Collingwood have 10 on the injury list, plus 2 out with illness and 1 for personal reasons, so really 13 unavailable.
How many have we get a game?
So that's interesting. So DeGoey, yes.
Well, his form wasn't, even when he dropped, he wasn't great. Yeah, okay.
If he's fit and firing in September.
Well, if he goes in, Lipinski goes out. So
Frampton playing?
Opposition dependent.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Harrison, no. Jath, no. McRae, no. McCreary?
Yeah, I like him.
Yep.
McInnes? It's not him and Frampton. You think one or the other?
Oh, that's right.
Ryan, no. Schultz, yes.
Maybe. I don't think he's a...
Jeez. Okay. Bobby Hill?
Certainly.
Yes.
Ed Allen?
Maybe not.
And then Sidebottom?
Definitely. Definitely.
So we've got at least 5 ticks there from the 13 unavailable as Collingwood inside 50 again. Pendlebury to Mitchell, who shoots goalward but misses. It would have been a popular goal scorer late in the piece. Behind for Tom Mitchell. Collingwood by 56 points. 14 minutes gone, final turn.
I disagree. Lipinski would not come out at all.
No, I don't. I'm not saying he should. No way. I'm just saying if you're going to have to go, someone's got to go out. The only thing is, Sidebottom will come in for Mitchell, and that's really him.
Collingwood match committee on Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, sometimes you've got to look at. Oh my God!
Oh, the Blues turning it over, interrupting our match committee as Chris gathers the footy on the back flank and kicks around the wing. Up goes Membry, good grab.
That was Blake Acres too.
Again.
Nice disposals.
Kicking can be a little bit of an Achilles heel.
Can it?
As Membry gives it off to Rone Steele, who kicks inside 50, and Cowan just makes it his for the Blues, bursts away, kicks into the middle of the ground.
Evans takes the mark, plays on, looks inside the forward 50, and the mark taken by Moyer, feeds it on to McGovern, who's running into an open goal and pops it through for the Blues. They've kicked the only 2 in this final term, but they are coming from a long, long way back. Collingwood's lead 50 points. Collingwood 16-12, 108. Carlton moved to 8-10, 58. 15 minutes gone in the final term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
I don't want to hear a word in tomorrow's wash-up or in any post-match chats that Carlton fought it out well in the last quarter. This player rose up and played a terrific last quarter. I could not care less what is going on right now with Carlton in this last quarter. The game is done and dusted. Collingwood are playing
safety.
Yep, just to get through, which I do not blame them for 1 second. They have dominated the game. They are 2.5 games clear on top of the ladder, about to go further briefly until a few other results. They are just playing for management right now and with the eyes squarely set on September. So don't say a word about Carlton's fight in this last quarter.
Umpire tosses it aloft after a crooked first bounce. Tom de Koning down for Cripps. Under pressure. A 5-metre kick that goes straight to Pendlebury. Twists and twirls and gets out of trouble as he kicks it away towards Hoskin Elliott. Driving ball to full forward. Up they go. Oh, Wiedering. One-handed. Almost took it in the claw as he takes the mark at fullback for the Blues. Just about their biggest highlight of the night as he moves it on to Holland. So goes short to Lockie Cowan. Swings a kick out wide to the sub, Flynn Young.
Young plays on. Kicks a helicopter down the wing. Curnow, awkward half volley pick-up, couldn't trap it. And Maynard wins it for the Pies.
3v1 he kicked that ball to.
Goes back to Cameron, and Cameron puts it on the chest of Will Parker.
No wonder Curnow's got his head hanging. Well, he shouldn't have his head hanging, but when you're doing that...
Parker, the 23-year-old, looks for Sullivan. Couldn't quite reel it in. Spills out to Steele. Hand pass goes forward to Myercheck. Tried to get it back to Roan Steele. Has to paddle it out in front. Carlton should win it. They do. Cripps tackled, taken to ground. Hand pass out to Flynn Young. Gets it to Hollands. And now over to Carroll at halfback.
Carroll just sets it up towards Curnow. Quaynor comes over the top, punches it away and crunches Curnow in the process.
It's been good, Quaynor. So strong, disciplined, reliable.
Thoughts of Mick Malthouse, the man who coached at both of these clubs, alongside Cameron Ling tonight. Darcy Cameron tapping it down for Lipinski. Handball away to Steele. Swings a handball to Nick Dacos on the wing. Just fashions a kick around the boundary line. Too hot for Crisp to handle. Now he's over the footy, fighting after it there with Young. Turning tackler again is Crisp, and a ball upcoming. Collingwood by 50.
The leading possession winners for Collingwood this quarter: Steele, Perryman, Mitchell, Markov. They're just putting those, and Parker, what we'd call role players, around the ball a lot more just to get them involved, and then you get Nick Dacos doing that.
Oh, the Pies pinch it through Nick Dacos, gives it off to Pendlebury, and he dabs it onto the chest of a leading Elliott.
And why wouldn't he be playing in front from this? Backline players, when the ball is on the wing, backline players really have a licence to play probably 2 or 3 metres in front of their direct opponent. You're cutting off that lead for a start off. Those Carlton players, 4 Carlton players were on 4 Collingwood players. Every one of them was behind their man, so they can lead at will at the ball.
Elliott comes in, his set shot, he steers it into the post. Collingwood by 51. Just under 7 minutes of real time remaining in this game. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Jackie in South Australia off the SMS. You're right, Mick. The heart has unfortunately gone from Carlton. Michael, I don't think Voss is going to last the season. 50-point loss last week, another thumping tonight. 0437 774 774, the SMS number. Carlton work it up to halfway. Chera with the footy. Comes out wide to Haynes. 51 points, Collingwood's lead. 19 gone in the final term. Haynes has kicked very wide and a sprawling mark for TDK. He's played almost exclusively as a forward. Kicks to full forward here. No mark, falls down towards Perryman. And pass to Quaynor along the ground. Got it to Darcy Cameron. Collingwood out of defence. Gives it to Lipinski long down the line. McStay trying to keep it in. Ran out of room and out of bounds on the full. Free kick for the Blues. High half forward. 75,827 the crowd. Collingwood by 51 points.
Haynes with a flower bag inside attacking 50. It floats onto the lap of Darcy Cameron. Pies in possession in their back pocket. Off to Josh Dacos. Shorts it to Crisp. Three-quarter kick out to Roan Steele. The debutant's had a little bit of it. Comes infield to Tom Mitchell. Receiving instruction from the bench about 15 metres in from the boundary line.
There's a lot of selection savers out there for Carlton right now. They're just trying to work out a way. How can I get another 4 or 5 possessions to make it look as though I played okay to keep my spot in the team?
Josh Dacos away to McStay, who now goes long inside 50 for the Pies. Myercheck hands to it, turns tackler on Pittonet. Elliott swoops through them. Handball away to Nick Dacos. Handball to Crisp. Crisp gathers in the pocket. Handball to Steele. Back feeds one away to Elliott, who decides to swing it on goal. It's a full forward Markov, Doherty. And Doherty comes in from the side. Holding him out neatly was Cowan. Blues get it at fullback.
Away towards Hollands. There's often a little bit of a run. His handball finds his teammate who can just poke the kick outside of the defensive 50, but Collingwood win it again. Moore to Parker to Mitchell. Hand pass out to Perryman, 60 from home. Kicks into the forward pocket. Cripps punches it away, but it'll work out all right for the Blues as Wiedering scoops it up. Out to Akers. And dare I say it, he's got plenty of space.
And watch how hard they're all running ahead of the ball now. I've got to get a kick a goal. Save my spot in the team.
Akers across the ground to Evans. Handball away to Chera, who receives that. Kicks to centre half forward. Fantasia marks. Moyes out in the goal square. He gets rid of Quainer on the mark. Good kick to Moyes. Advantage. Darcy Moore never gave up on it. We're in time on in the final term. His team's up by 51. And he will not give Ashton Moyer anything for free. Gets across, punches it out of bounds. And a huge 1%er from the skipper. Boundary throw in forward pocket for the Blues.
That'll teach him to come and meet the football.
Yep.
Stand there and expect the ball to come to you, especially when you've got players with speed like Moore has for his size.
Throw in forward pocket for the Blues. DeConing with hands on it. Crisp rushes a kick out of D50 and insufficient intent. He was trying to claim that it took a deflection off hands on the way out. Free kick to be taken by Harry O'Farrell. His kick smothered there by McStay. Ricochets away to Hollands, who gives it back to O'Farrell. Has to snap a kick inside 50. Up they go, Evans. Maynard punches it away. Crisp slaps it on, and Collingwood are waiting through Mitchell. Bouncing off half-back. Now under pressure, Elliott gives it away to Steele. His high kick towards the wing. Can't be marked. Ball hits it at Carroll. Pile driver tackle coming from Myercheck. Ball comes out. Hollands away to Motlop. Crosses the paint at 50. Pulls the trigger on goal. And it's offline. Out to the right. It bounces through. Collingwood by 50 points. 23 minutes away from the final. 23 minutes into this final quarter. 3.5 minutes away from the final siren.
6-goal lead, by the way, for GWS over West Coast. Start of the third term will take you there for the final quarter. Hear it on ABC Sport. If you want to hear it now, the ABC Listen app. Just toggle across to the AFL Extra button. Call available there. As Maynard marks in the back pocket, goes long down the line and punched out of bounds by Wiedering. So as the fans start to trickle out, Lingy and Mick, how should they feel about it? Collingwood fans, what should their takeaway be tonight?
Very, very happy. A first-class team that for 3 quarters completely dominated the game.
No injuries.
Yep.
Yeah, spot on. Just move on to the next week now.
And if I'm a Carlton fan?
Oh, well, you've got a lot to...
Got a lot of questions, don't you? A lot of questions. Because this last quarter must be ignored.
Cripps earns a free kick at the stoppage. Wraps up McStay holding the ball, puts it inside 50, but offhand spills down to Mitchell.
How much football's Mitchell had since he's been on this quarter in particular? He's just dominated the ball.
Maynard, Hoskin, Elliott, Quaynor, Josh Dacos all share it. Josh Dacos comes out of defensive 50, turns it over. Doherty pokes it back inside more, another spoil. Knocks it away from TDK. If you think you're getting a late mark inside the forward 50, it was a Carlton forward, think again. And Darcy Moore keen to shut all of that down. Collingwood up the wing. Long gives it to Hoskin Elliott. Drives it down to half forward. Here's Membry. Do they want to keep moving? Membry one out. Membry's got it. He's got Myercheck deep, decides against it, dabs it laterally and finds Nick Dacos, who marks between wing and half forward. 25 gone, final term. Collingwood by 50.
I can understand the frustration of the forwards, Carlton. That ball that went in late, the ball just sat on his head. Didn't make the player come to him at all. Collingwood make the player come to the kick, and therefore your backline player is always under pressure.
Collingwood just chipping it around.
This is exactly what Collingwood are happy to do in this last quarter. It's just been all about management, game time, where players are playing. This is for September, this type of play.
Quaynor kicks it inside 50 off the hands of Pittonet. Hoskin Elliott hacks it out of mid-air. The half volley out of bounds on the full it goes. So Carlton to have it in their back pocket through Carroll. Carroll just pokes it to Wiedering. 50 points is the margin. It's going to be another ugly night for Carlton. And what will the wash-up bring? The president told us that they'll get to the end of the year and they'll make calm and rational decisions. O'Keefe with a kick for Moyer up on the wing. Doesn't drag in the mark. Down at ground level, the Pies have all of the numbers again in Josh Dacos.
Kicks a high ball down the wing to brother Nick. Another contested grab. That's his new thing. All the talk about for everything he does, he can't rip down contested grabs. He's doing it for fun. Inside the forward 50. Myercheck the target. Did he get a shove? Yes. Free kick for Myercheck.
Oleg Markov and Isaac Quaynor are coming over to Nick Dacos and celebrating the contested mark. They absolutely love it. He had his arms up like he kicked a goal. Oleg Markov celebrating with Nick Dacos.
He's got 2 tonight. But they credit him with the first one, which was
surely
genuine one-on-one. We'll see if we can get a deeper dive on that stat sheet in a moment. As Myercheck to finish off the work. He dobs it. And the Pies have a party at the G. And again, they'll celebrate against the old enemy. A 56-point advantage for the Magpies. 17-13 to 8-11. Myercheck with his second of the night. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Collingwood up big.
And to answer your question, Corbs, yes. 2 contested marks for Nick Dacos for the night. And just a complete performance. This last quarter, we called it early. They've just moved into management, maintenance mode for the last quarter. Percentage is irrelevant for Collingwood given their buffer on top of the ladder, so they didn't need to push it out. They've juggled the midfield time. Different players have moved through there. They've juggled who's gone to the bench.
So he'd taken 1 contested mark in his first 85 games. He's got 2 tonight.
Back in the middle. It's all smiles in the stripes as Collingwood deliver a 56-point Blues battering.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The goal kickers for the Pies, Jamie Elliott with 4. The first time in his career he's kicked 40 in a season. Dan McStay with 4. 2 to Membry, 2 to Myercheck, singles to Crisp, Hoskin Elliott, Sullivan, Nick Dacos and Ned Long. While for Carlton it was 3 to Williams. He was subbed out with a shin complaint. 2 to Jesse Motlop, and then it was singles to McGovern, Fantasia and to Ashton Moyer. And that was how it finished. 56 points to Collingwood as they ran away with it.
Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
There's more of the same in the context of the season. Collingwood keep on winning. 14-2 on the season. They are 14-1 though in their last 15 games, and that one was a kick after the siren that missed off the boot of Jack Crisp. Meanwhile for Carlton, they stay in the doldrums. That's 3 straight losses, and no pressure will ease on embattled coach Michael Voss. 56 points full-time. Collingwood over Carlton. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
A highly professional, high-quality performance by Collingwood. And for 3 quarters, just complete domination. As I said, throughout that last quarter, the last quarter was irrelevant. Collingwood had done the work. They had it in total control. They moved into management mode and they won it comfortably. And just to celebrate one thing, Cobbs, we were pumping up Nick Dacos for his 2 contested marks.
Yeah.
He's only got one more area of his game that he needs to lift in.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't had a hit out yet.
Right.
So come on, Nick.
Come on.
Do something.
There'll be some troll on Twitter that'll be out there getting into him saying, that Nick Dacos, everyone says he's the greatest, but he hasn't done this and that.
Hasn't put in enough work on his ruck craft. Got to lift his game.
What a player.
And if he doesn't win a Brownlow, it doesn't matter because the best players have never won a Brownlow.
It's true.
Well, he was arguably the best player in the league in year 2 and year 3 and again in year 4. And if you become the best player sort of that we've seen every year and all of a sudden you do it in year 11, 12, 13, just about makes you the best player we've ever seen.
You feel like he will win it this year.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I'm just naming a few like, say, Matthews, Carey, Ling, Bartlett.
I would have gone with Ablett Senior from the Cats choices there.
I mean, he has a banner night, doesn't he, again, as he's done all season. So 36 and 1 goal, 2, 7 clearances, 13 of his touches contested. He also had 7 inside 50, so big night for Nick Dacos. Collingwood win large.
And 13 score involvements. That's why we... For non-Collingwood fans who maybe, you guys go on and on about Nick Dacos, there's a reason. It's because he's not a midfielder. Mick, you and I are the same in this. We see some midfielders across the competition like, they had 28 touches, but don't rate them because
that's right.
It's junky, nothing disposals. Nick Dacos gets damaging, high-quality score involvements, inside 50s, clearances, and kicks goals himself. So that's why we go on and on about him, and quite rightly so.
600 metres.
Yeah, right across the board, Mick. Look at the players from Collingwood. Their key leaders stand up again. Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, Scotty Pendlebury was excellent, especially for the first 3 quarters. Jack Crisp, excellent.
Well, even Mitchell, he's ended up with 26 possessions and didn't waste any.
No. So they always know. So we were discussing who comes in, who doesn't for Collingwood. If Tom Mitchell eventually maybe gets squeezed out, Craig McRae just knows if there's an injury or two, you've always got somebody of that quality.
Well, Seibold's got to come
straight in.
Seibold's got to come back in next week.
Yeah.
I don't know who they play. Well, next week is round 18, is it? So whatever it is, it's going to be Gold Coast.
Gold Coast Friday night.
Ooh, that's a good one. Who are the 5, did you say, we thought might come back in?
So we've marked down Frampton.
Maybe, depending on opposition, yep.
DeGoey.
Yes.
McCreery.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes, or maybe, yeah.
Hill.
Yes.
Definitely.
And Sidebottom. So we got 6.
So 4, I'd say, of those are definite.
Yep.
Frampton is horses for courses, and Schultz is the debate.
DeGoey's got a lot to prove, doesn't he?
Well, I reckon
DeGoey's
got to get back into form because even when he was running around, he wasn't getting the football.
Yep. What he could be that perfect explosive impact sub if they get him fit enough.
Yeah. And there's probably a clear 5. I don't want to put a damper on, given they've just won by 10 goals, but there's probably a clear 4 or 5 playing tonight who maybe get
carried along,
moved out of the way.
Yep.
But you just know when they can play in big Friday night games, big crowd, 75,000, old rivals. And I know in the end it was a pretty easy game, but they've had experience that should they be required come finals, they'll be able to adapt pretty quickly.
Yeah. And Craig McRae spoke about that, how much they loved giving Charlie West a game last week to be able to put another debutant out there tonight. So opportunity to be able to give these guys a look. And I'm sure Tom Mitchell in a way fits into that category where he's been playing in the 2s. There's probably not room for him and Pendlebury and Sidebottom and all these guys with sort of lack of foot speed and Ned Long, who's obviously taken his spot in the middle in that same midfield. But in the dog days of winter, why not, if he's ever going to get a run, play him now and see how he goes.
Steele was good tonight too, I thought.
Yeah. You've still got weeks to go.
Yeah.
And you only need, and it's funny enough, if you get an injury, non-year injury in rounds 1 to 7, you get them back. But it's now when you start to worry with 8 to go, someone gets a decent hamstring or an AC joint or a broken collarbone or something.
Or medial or anything.
Yeah, they miss 4 to 6 weeks. You go, oh, now we're starting to run the finals. That's why these players are so essential.
And the management thing that we're talking about is you could leave Steele Sidebottom out for one more week if you wanted to. And Tom Mitchell can play it. And then when he comes back, you could actually say to Pendlebury, you can have 2 weeks off now. We're still far enough out, and Mitchell can carry that load as well. So he could carry the load for 4 or 5 weeks while you rotate some rest through, and then you get your team maybe for the last couple of weeks heading into September.
Full time here, Collingwood by 56 points, so they're 14-1 in their last 15 games. An incredible run for the Magpies. Live score halfway through the third quarter in Perth, and GWS 8 goals up on West Coast. Let's go into the winners' rooms. Tim Hodges is down there in a pretty happy Magpies camp. The boys are on your way, Hodgie.
These Collingwood rooms, they get more and more people in every win they've got as Darcy Moore leads the team in. There would have to be close to 1,000 people in these rooms. I don't think you'd like it, Mick, back in your day.
1,000?
It is stacked. If you see a wide shot, they've actually just pulled the rope right over so the players can just walk in a...
Yeah.
There's at least 150, I'd agree with you.
100. So Nick Dacos and Darcy Cameron are the last of the two Magpies. I actually asked for Tim Membry. I reckon he'll be a good chat. He must be pinching himself with the success he's having in his first year at the club. Nick Dacos, the last Magpie in. They normally go really quiet and then they'll jump into the song. All of the families and their children are in the song. I'll get going eventually. That was a pretty subdued song in the end for the 14th edition of this season. Hard to believe right now the Magpies 3.5 games clear on top of the ladder. I'll send it back to you, Corbin, for just a moment. We'll try and grab Tim Membry as quick as we can.
Thanks, Hodgie. So much sport happening tonight, and always on the ABC Listen app. There's coverage of Wimbledon there, so look out for the ABC Sports Extra button. The NRL coverage rolls on, of course, nightly and across the weekend, plus all the AFL. We've got coverage of the second test from Grenada, where Australia are all out for 286, so they're in the field tonight. Our coverage starts from 11:45 Eastern, first ball from midnight. So all available through the ABC Listen app. There's a game on at the moment, GWS and West Coast. It is the Giants who lead by 43 points, 11-8 to 5-1. There'll be coverage of that available on the ABC Listen app through AFL Extra. And we'll also take you there in the next 20 minutes or so. So we'll bring you the last quarter action between the Eagles and the Giants. Our focus is on what's happening here, though, and Collingwood are home by 56 points. So they currently sit 3.5 games clear on top. Of course, the rest of the pack still to play this weekend. Most notably the Brisbane Lions, who are on tomorrow night against Port Adelaide. They are second on the premiership table as it sits at the moment. The Carlton side of things, we'll get to more of that as we progress through. Dane in Perth have a question for Mick. If Carlton changes coaches, who's the best replacement? Feels like that's skipping ahead, doesn't it? Still 7 games to go.
Yeah, you've got a bloke there that's... Well, he's there, and... He holds it contractual-wise until they decide that he hasn't.
2026. Yeah, still got another year after this. Barry from Harcourt. I think Voss has the sympathy of the football public. However, I think he should fall on his sword if he wants to preserve a modicum of integrity. He lost influence over his playing list, in my opinion, from Barry. I'm sure we'll hear from him as the night progresses. He'll obviously have his press conference coming up. Ben noted it during the call, some unusual sort of movements in the box. We've seen him down on the bench, we've seen him in the box, and today we saw him on the steps in the box rather than in one of the key seats.
I'm Look, I'll just say this about the sitting on the bench, or sitting on the steps. Was he ever on the bench downstairs?
Whether he got caught in between.
Well, could have gone up there and hadn't taken his seat, or going to go down there, got caught in the game. Look, I don't want to make this ever about me, but I have left the coach's box at the Wacker, and thought, I'm not going to get there in time. So I shuffled in the back of a super box to watch the last minute.
What, in some
they didn't.
Corporate box?
Yeah, corporate box. So they didn't have a clue that I was in the back there, because there was...
They did when you opened the bottle of wine, though.
I made a very bad mistake. I didn't leave there early enough, and then I left too late.
Pies keep on winning, 56 points over their arch rival in the Blues. Back into the winners' rooms, Tim Hodges.
Corbin, Tim Membry has been good enough to come and join us. Mate, I just about pinched you before. Like, are you pinching yourself thinking, how good is this? Your first year at the Magpies, and they're absolutely flying 3.5 games clear on top of the ladder.
Yeah, I am, but, there's no surprises how well they're going, we're going. We set ourselves up pretty strongly in the pre-season. They work really hard as a group, training during the week, how professional it really is, and, I pinch myself sometimes to be part of this group.
Has it dragged your game to a new level that you maybe thought was beyond your expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to work with some of those, guys in that forward line, and Elliott and McStay and Myercheck, and they're just absolute workhorses. They love competing. Our roles are pretty simple, and it's just been good fun.
And do you have to, pinch yourself? Look, another crowd, another Friday night game, 75,000 people. Like, must feel as good as it gets, right?
It is. No, it really is. And the crowds, they just show up. It wasn't our home game. The crowd in tonight, and a lot of support from the Magpie Army. So, yeah, I do. It's just it's been a surreal feeling.
Craig McRae always said 14 wins was the goal to book yourself in finals. You've done that now. Like, do you start to think of what's ahead in a couple of months?
14 wins, it's pretty good. You give yourselves a good chance to get there. So, we've still got a lot of good footy ahead of us that we want to play, and there's still some things in our games that we really want to knuckle down on and nail. So, at the moment, it's a good feeling around the club, and the list is healthy. And when someone goes down, another soldier steps up and plays their role.
You're playing brilliant footy. It's awesome to have you on ABC Sport. I'll send you upstairs, Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse.
Tim, congratulations on the win and your performance as well. The amount of times that our Tim, Hodges there next to you, had you pinching yourself, you'd have bruises all over yourself, but your eyes certainly must light up when players like Nick Dacos come bursting out of the middle. Just another incredible game from still such a young player to play so well every single week.
Yeah, he's such a freak, and what I spoke about earlier about training standards and that, and he really drives that. I seriously don't see him at the club without a footy in his hand. Like, he's just a freak. He's always carrying a footy around, and be walking around in the gym and he's kicking the ball across his body at you, so you got to be ready every time he's in the room. But his skills are sublime, and the way he covers the ground, it's just it's amazing. And your eyes do light up when he's got the footy.
You guys were so good for 3 quarters, just completely dominated the game and played such a wonderful game. We were wondering, we were talking about it out aloud in the last quarter. Were you pretty content and comfortable with the way the last quarter played out? It felt like almost we've got the game in hand, we've played it well, let's just manage our bodies, maybe manage some of the time on ground, that sort of thing. Was that spoken about? Just, hey, it's fine. We don't need to still be going at 100 miles an hour?
Certainly with our ball movement, we probably wanted to control it a little bit more, maybe go a little bit more uncontested and, not look for that big contest every time. But, I'm not sure what it looked like from the bench, whether there was guys that spent a bit more time on the bench. But, I was still tonguing it towards the end there. So for me, it certainly still felt like I was having a go.
Timmy, I know this is a very strange question to ask because, you've come from a club that, you've taken from Sydney, spent a lot of time at the Saints. You said about the difference in training. Is it so noticeable that there is a difference in the type of training that Collingwood have compared? Is that because of confidence more so than where the Saints are sort of, just haven't found that, that finals on a regular basis?
I'm not it's hard to put something, a finger on it, but I mean, the group here is just so experienced and they've been together for such a long time. Right. So maybe that's got something to do with it. They're really in sync with each other. The drills that we do each week, it's done to just such a high level, and each individual knows, what they need to get out of it from themselves. But then as a team too, we've got certain things you want to tick off at stoppage and inside 50s and D50s, and I mean the group just every week they just get out and train at such a high level.
And this is not saying one coach is better than the other, but what's the highest principle that, say, Ross Lyon, being a former coach, says compared to, say, McRae? What's the basic difference in their philosophies, if you like?
It's a tricky question.
Come on, you're capable.
I mean, Fly's just really big on, celebrating each other, and, he brings us together so well. And, I mean, anyone I've said before, goes down, comes up and just plays their role. And that's all he really just expects from you as a player that comes in, is just to compete, do your role. It's not about, goals, kicks, marks and handballs. And, I mean, he just celebrates that so well. And I think that's something that, noticeably has been probably a shift.
Tim Membry with us after Collingwood's 56-point win. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Tim, it's Corbin Middlemass here. Obviously, you end up at Collingwood. You're part of this machine. You're a key cog in it. Was there ever another club when you left St Kilda at the end of last year? Was it always Collingwood?
I mean, as soon as they came, out and were pretty keen. I mean, I felt like I had to jump all over it. Just like I mentioned with the players that they've got here, and such a big club, and I just was really excited to maybe be involved and experience that. So I mean, as soon as I heard that they were keen, I was like, righto, let's get it done.
And are you enjoying everything that's involved with being a Collingwood footballer?
Yeah, I am. I mean, just down here in the rooms now and looking at all the people that are...
How many people would you say are here, Tim?
Honestly, I reckon there's a few more wristbands that have been handed out. There's absolutely crazy amount. But it's just good. I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
It's awesome to see you doing well.
Hey, Corbin, can I just ask you a serious one? He's just behind you, a guy you've got to know pretty well this year, Scott Selwood, is back at the club full time after a horrible couple of months. The whole club and the playing group must be thrilled to have him back.
He's honestly one of the best blokes in football. He's the way he carries himself, obviously been through a really tough period this year, and I think the way that he's handled himself, the way the club's handled it, and to have him here and be amongst the guys, and he still has such great input in our meetings, and all us players, we've just got so much respect for him and his family, but it's just so great to see him in here and being back in the program.
We wish you well. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
There you go, Corbin. Tim Membry.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Tim Odgers with Tim Membry in the Pies room. One of the feel-good stories of the year. There's no doubt about it, Tim Membry. And probably with all the stars in his Collingwood machine, it's sort of easy to overlook the role that he's playing. But remember him when he missed that final against GWS when he was playing for St Kilda that night, and there were serious concerns about his health and everything that he was going through as to whether he would make it back and what his life would look like. Forget about his AFL career. He's got a young family and everything else, and for him to be back out there playing that kind of footy in the team that's flying 3.5 games clear on top, what a great story.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? You're right. There's so much more than footy sometimes, but the fact that he's back out there doing something he's genuinely enjoying, and he would be loving it, and I think Collingwood are loving having him out there, as we spoke throughout the game, what he brings to that forward line. And he's one of a few who Collingwood just so clever in the way they targeted their off-season work to get him to complement that forward line, to get Perryman just to support down back a little bit. John Noble leaves, and then to get Dan Houston with that creative ball. Houston hasn't hit the heights of all-Australian football, but he's playing really good football, and he'll settle in and he'll get better and better and better, and it complements all the little pieces that they were able to bring back from that premiership team of 2 years ago. They just have brought it together really calmly, but really smartly.
You know what makes him accepted more than anything? His tats. You were looking.
I was wondering where he was going.
Was it his work range? Was it his?
I thought you belong at Collingwood.
You think about the forward line with him and there was, like when I was
Elliott.
at Swanee, you got Elliott and you've got him.
De Goey.
And they just.
Bo McCreary's got a few. Hasn't
Oh
he?
yeah, don't worry if you don't you don't get a game in the forward line this good. We've got to check out these other blokes.
Mick, we'll go into business. We'll open a tattoo parlour in Collingwood.
Call it forward line.
I reckon there's a couple already.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the caricatures after the grand final. Of course, the iconic WEG posters that then was picked up by Mark Knight, of course, the Herald Sun cartoonist. And when you guys won in 2010, so much so was the tattoo such a part of it. The Collingwood mascot actually has tattoos on it in the caricature, so immortalised forever. The Collingwood premiership poster drawn by Mark Knight, the magpie in it has tattoos.
It doesn't live with the one that one Collingwood supporter went to Bali and got it done. Collingwood 2010 premiers, and it had a big L next to it, and the other one on the other leg had a big R on it.
Oh, for left and right.
Left and right.
Yes.
No, they were imprinted on his leg.
That's not ideal. Michael from Wyndham Vale. I'm a Collingwood supporter, and whilst I enjoy every single minute of this, I would be absolutely devastated if Carlton sacked yet another coach. It's not all on Michael's shoulders. The problems at Carlton run far deeper than one man. Phil from Adelaide. Will Ken Hinkley end up at Princes Park next year?
I had that floated to me during the week, not as a coach, because I hope that Michael Voss holds his position, but as a coaching mentor, a director of coaching, whatever the role is, given their relationship from Port Adelaide days.
Yeah.
Ken Hinkley, that just really experienced, steady head, being there with Vossi, it could be a really good appointment for him.
Well, he's worked with him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So, it's not as if it's foreign, but... Yeah, I don't know. It's look.
Do you reckon that heaps more pressure on if you have
Carlton's
a coach?
Carlton's a total mystery, and I'm going to run with what the current president, is saying to the end of this year. So I would say that it would be totally unacceptable by anyone at Carlton to think that he leaves before, unless he decides, leaves before this season's finished. Given what the president has said. They're trying to create, you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a club that's got more stability than what it's had over the last 35 years perhaps. I mean, they sacked David Parkin after they won a premiership. That's right. A year after, whatever it was. So don't be too surprised about what Carlton do, but I think they're trying to do the right thing. It's and I know Brian Cook would certainly be there. Graham Wright, that's an interesting one that they saying that he's going to make a difference coming in next month when Brian Cook's there, and he's been at 2 football clubs for forever. So if I was Brian Cook, I'd be a little bit hurt by that narrative.
Well, it seems very much like he's got the change mantra, doesn't he, Graham Wright, that's his thing. He's going to come in, he's had a whole year to assess the football department and the broader club, but basically they've appointed him as a CEO with a focus on football. And then he'll present to the board, say these are all the changes in the beginning of August or whatever it is. The season will end for Carlton, at the end of August.
Yeah.
And then they'll roll out what changes they see fit. So it'll be up to Graham Wright to make his recommendations.
And when you're new to a football club, you'd go in and you want it to be what you want it to be.
Yep. One thing I do like, and we've asked for him, I reckon, every single week, I like that we haven't heard anything from Graham Wright. So he's not the CEO yet, and I hope the Blues aren't listening because we've been asking for him every week, but everyone's obviously waiting to hear from him, and yet there's no reason for him to speak at this stage. He's not the CEO. He's there to sort of see what's going on. He's about to take over, and then he'll roll out whatever the plan is and whatever it looks like for the Carlton Football Club. So it's not as if he's been out doing media commitments or whatever it is. He was here tonight. The cameras are focused on him, continuously throughout the final quarter, and when he comes in, I'm sure we'll hear plenty from him then.
Corby, it's not just coaches that get sacked, Carlton.
Yep.
The CEOs don't. I got there and Swanee said to me, I've just been told to move. He went. The bloke that, our friend from South Australia, he went.
Stephen Trigg.
Yeah.
You've got Cookie's been sort of rushed out before...
So it's changed.
October. I think so. I don't think it's any. I don't think it's just coaches.
Someone wrote, I forget which sports writer it was, but at Carlton they don't just eat their own; they enjoy them with a side of fava beans and a nice Chianti. To quote Silence of the Lambs, they do, don't they?
You are ahead of everyone. We've all got to think. I'm glad you followed up with the Silence of the Lambs, so then we know what you're talking about.
Well, some people might not have, Mick. They might not have seen the emotion.
Oh, I mean, I just didn't pick it up because we're talking football outside of some murder case.
Collingwood by 56 points over the Blues. Let's go into the Carlton rooms. Tim Hodges has jumped across. Hodgie?
Yeah, she's probably only about 28 people in here. It's pretty subdued. I am watching a fascinating conversation. You're talking about Graham Wright, the incoming CEO. He's deep in conversation with the Carlton president, Robert Priestley. There is another fascinating conversation. I've seen Michael Voss, Brad Lloyd, the footy manager, and Will Batulis, the media manager. They're in one of the side rooms, almost having probably a powwow or some sort of message of how are we going to be on the same message before Michael Voss goes and fronts the cameras and the waiting journos, which Mick, I mean, that would be fascinating conversations.
Is Brian Cook down there, Timmy?
Brian Cook was here. He just left before.
He's left the room.
He's left already. So,
right, okay.
yeah, I think he's only got a couple more weeks to go and he's out of here, which I think you'd be pretty happy to be doing that right now. But just the messaging of what Michael Voss goes in and says, because there's going to be a horde of journos in there.
There's no question that would be high on what's happening in there right at the moment, and they'd be wanting to be prepared for the questions that you want to ask, which is you're sitting on the bench or sitting on the one of the steps. You know why? So what are you going to answer that with? How competitive up to quarter time. How are you going to answer that after that? So
what were you doing on the step? What were you doing on the step?
Yeah, well, was it in transition?
Yeah,
that'd be my theory.
But even if it wasn't, you'd want to have an answer for it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, after the game you would. Let's tend to look like Pinocchio after a game, let me tell you.
Let's do our own rehearsal, Mick. So pretend you're the coach and I'm the media manager.
You play the role of Mark Stevens. And
that's what I was about to say. Do you think the players turned up to play today?
I'm glad you're about a metre and a half away from me.
You're a brave person.
What do you think they did? Came to play marbles?
What a line. What a line. Oh, don't you miss it, Mick, the life of a senior coach?
Not now.
Anything else to report, Hodgie, from down there?
No. I mean, normally the players have come out of the locker room area. So they normally go into a meeting room and then come out and meet their families or their partners or their kids. There are no players here at all, so I think they're really just locked in the locker area away from anyone at the moment. So, it's pretty grim down here, to be perfectly honest, and I don't think it's going to get much easier. Again, the Blues on the big stage on Thursday night this coming week, after being towed up by the top team. They've got the second team on the ladder next Thursday night, so this is just not getting easy for them. And the glare of Thursday night footy into Friday night footy into Thursday night footy in 3 straight weeks is probably the last thing this club needs right now. They'd like to be off the radar on a 1 o'clock Sunday game, but that's not the Blues' way at the moment, so it's not going to get any easier for Michael Voss.
There's some pretty good games at 1 o'clock Sunday games. Don't worry about those, Hodgie. Great work downstairs in all of that. So Tim Hodges in the Carlton rooms. Full time here, Collingwood by 56 points over the Blues. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. We are off to the final quarter shortly from Perth, where GWS are doing a job on the home team, the West Coast Eagles. Lingy.
The votes for tonight, Corbs, they relate only to the first 3 quarters of this game, because that's where this game was decided. Forget about the last quarter. Take it out of your memory completely, especially any Carlton people trying to hold on to hope of this player did all right in the last quarter.
So no Will Parker or Flynn Young, they're not in the votes.
No.
They only played the last quarter.
No, and any Carlton player who thought they went all right in the last quarter, it was garbage time. All right, 1 vote goes to, again, related to the first 3 quarters, Dan McStay. Kicked 4 goals, presented up strong with his marking, really high work rate. Kicked those 4 goals in the first 3 quarters. 2 votes to the other most dangerous forward on the field, and that was Jamie Elliott, who kicked 4, probably could have had 6 or 7. Completely destroyed Mitch McGovern. In fact, McGovern got moved down to the forward line and just to get him out of the way so that Elliott stopped having a field day on him. And 3 votes to, have a guess who? Nick Dacos. 36 disposals, 7 clearances, 7 inside 50s, 13 score involvements, ridiculous, and 1 goal himself. He was the most dynamic player on the field. 3 votes again.
The game's premier player with top votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. 3 for Nick Dacos, 2 for Elliott, 1 for McStay. 75,827. The Pies by 6 at quarter time, 24 at the half, 60 at three-quarter time, and that was the game. They ended up winning by 56 points. Thanks to Ben Cameron coming in late for Kelly Underwood. Thanks to Tim Hodges. Thanks to you, Lingy.
No worries at all. Off to Cardinia Park tomorrow, the Cats and Tigers.
Big duties this weekend. And then Sunday from noon, of course, with Clinchy. Mick, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Corby. Look forward to seeing you next week on the Saturday.
Great job as always. Thanks to Stu Hollywood Baker and thanks to Craig Davis back in the studio. The Pies by 56.
The commentary curse. As we welcome our listeners to Perth Stadium who've just joined us from Carlton and Collingwood, you've gone from Broadway